What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kitchen Court Cases, where we watch court in my kitchen. We are in an OG kitchen today. I am making tacos, steak tacos for this evening because you know what day it is? It is Taco TPO Tuesday. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kitchen Court So Cases, close where is we
Oh,
watch court in my kitchen. We are in an OG kitchen today. I am making tacos, steak tacos for, and I said it twice. Why is it every time
case and burden of proof.
hey,
That means
I'm not ready yet. Now you know which judge it is going to be, but um, I can never remember all the things I need to deal with. First, before we get going, I would like to show you guys something. I had to get cooking while you were watching Time Serve, doing a wonderful thing tonight. So, reminder, if you're new here, this is Kitchen Court Cases. The way we take attendance is you're going to have to check in with that like or dislike button down there. Look what we have here. Some lovely steak. Oh, it's heavy and hot. Okay. So we're just going to leave that there. Leave that there. And watch our TPOs. And then I'm going to cut it up and put it on some tacos. So while this is Judge Dude, I believe. Let's see what he's got for us tonight. Shall we?
order hearing, and it will proceed as follows. It is the petitioner's case and burden of proof. That means that they go first. This feels frustrating to respondents because they don't get to make statements until the very end. You have to sit there and listen to things that they have to say. Then you have to ask them questions if you wish to ask questions, but you don't get to tell your side of the story until later. So please understand that you will be expected to wait for that. Each witness will testify and then be questioned in that order. So the petitioner would testify, they would be questioned. If they have a witness, the witness will testify, the witness will be questioned. When the petitioner is arrested, the respondent can make a choice about whether to present evidence and what evidence to present. If anyone who does take the stand and testify will be questioned, anyone who doesn't will not. And so the burden of proof in these cases is more likely than not, and the court is being asked to determine whether acts of stalking have occurred that are sufficient for the issuance of this order and whether that order will help prevent acts of stalking from being committed in the future. So with all of that said, Ms. Frizzell, can you please raise your right hand for me?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear the statements you make to the court will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Now, what is your connection to the respondent?
She's my sister.
All right. And just out of curiosity, have you two ever lived together?
Yes.
When was the last time that was true?
2018.
Okay. And how long did you two live together?
Well, on and off for about 5 months, I think.
Okay. Did you two grow up in the same house?
We did not. It's about an 18-year age gap.
Okay. So, you've attached a statement to your petition. And so, talk me through what led you to filing this petition.
Okay. In accordance to the questions you just asked, I'll give a short backdrop. In 2017, my mother and I were living in Minnesota, and that's when she was diagnosed with dementia. She decided that she wanted to be close to family down south, and so my sister, she moved down with my sister. I began to notice that her voice sounded a little different, where she couldn't articulate what was wrong. I visited over my Christmas break from my job, and I saw some things to me that were disturbing. And it is abuse, even though it's not physical. She was charging her for utilities, for rent, and yelling at her when she would forget it. So I said, maybe she's having some trouble with this. This is all news to us. And I said, okay, hopefully, I think things would probably get better. It didn't. My mom, at 74 years old, had left church in a rental car and came straight up to Iowa in an attempt to get to me to get away from whatever is so horrible that she did not want to return.
When is this?
This is 2018. No, I'm sorry, it's 2017, February 2017.
All right, so here's what I need. We're going to start. So you have filed this petition in your name,
Yes.
alleging acts of stalking that have been committed against you. And so this is going to be difficult because I know that a relationship here is driven in large part by the relationship each of you has with your mother. But talk me through what has been going on this year.
Okay, so nothing has been much going on this year because the relationship was so toxic that I've cut off all communication with her or those who work with her for about 3 years. I could not prove those previous forms of abuse, kicking us out, making us homeless, and all these other things. So she did have access still to the apartment to come and see mom. And it's always an agenda. It's never to really see about mom. It's so that she can have her hand into control. So on the Saturday that I reported her, the reason she couldn't come in, the reason that she on the Saturday I reported her, the reason that was a problem is because she came in illegally bypassing the security call box. And if she hadn't have come in that way, we wouldn't have had most likely that issue. So the following Monday, I requested that the leasing office look on the cameras to see who was allowing her to come in. And they said, we didn't see nothing and all of that. Well, they said, well, we were watching your apartment door on our cameras. What they were watching was her, because she was standing in between the open door and yelling and being belligerent after she brought up a dirty maintenance cart and left it in our entryway just to be nasty. That's why I cut them off. Those little things agitate our very peaceful home. And the reason why the leasing office didn't want to disclose that is because they had allowed her, who just 2 days prior came in illegally, to purchase a key. And they underhandedly put it on our rental receipt as a $50 credit instead of a charge, so that it would go unnoticed. The only reason I knew about it is because I'm signed up with our rental portal. And so that's the only way I was notified. I, who live in the apartment, who has a valid power of attorney, wasn't told that someone had access to our apartment. So that was issue number one. Then after that,
let me jump in with a quick question, because I'm going to forget to ask otherwise. So who's on the lease?
I'm the official lease signer for my mother, because she's been deemed incompetent medically as far as lacking sufficient comprehension since April 2021.
Okay, so you are signing on behalf of your mother, and are you and your mother the only two people that reside at the apartment?
Correct.
Okay, and I forgot to ask this, but the respondent, to the best of your knowledge, is a DeKalb County resident, is that right?
Correct. She lives right by Kroger's within 5 minutes, which is also crucial to another part of what's happened in all this whirlwind in the past 3 weeks.
Okay, carry on.
Okay, so after that, this person who has not been involved in any medical things, primarily because my mother said out of the 3 daughters, she only really wanted me and the oldest to have any information, whether it's medical, financial, home, or anything. She wouldn't even allow Deborah to go in to a doctor's appointment because, in her words, she said she was a crook and a scam and she didn't trust her, period. That's why she was not on any documents ever. So even in the case of that, in 5 years, someone who lives within 5 minutes makes the excuse that she doesn't know any of her doctors, even through breast cancer, none of the chemo treatments, none of that. Now, all of a sudden, after she's been exposed on my Ring camera, she wants to be involved. She wants to take and coerce my mom to sign a false power of attorney while she's in a decline state of dementia. Which, by the way, I don't understand how that could happen, because there's an advance directive that is dated April 2021, specifically stating she lacks sufficient comprehension. And that wasn't on my part. That was on the doctor's. She was so frustrated, quite frankly, that she couldn't get a straight answer out of my mother. And when I would try to, chime in, my sisters had fed my mom all these lies that you don't really have dementia. Charlize doesn't really need to be there. She's a helicopter. So that she had kind of turned against me. But the doctor pointed at me and she said, "You go see my office manager right now," because she didn't know how to serve my mom. It was just nonsensical. That was 2 years ago. So that's how we have that advance directive. When my mother was more competent, she on her own had me go to her Wells Fargo bank down the street and made me power of attorney. And if I'm deceased or if something happens to me, then she made Terry Coleman, my oldest sister who lives in Maryland. So there's a reason why Deborah was never, ever on paperwork and lives 5 minutes from here. So this is a retaliation mode because her behavior finally got caught on camera. And now I have proof, just the tip of the iceberg, of how she is behind the scenes. I was physically assaulted twice.
Welcome, guys. So if you're just getting here, thank you for being here. I see you all in the chat. I'm so glad to see you. I see that is the way I see it. I see Orlando Chiquita. I see many, many of my friends here. This is a TPO hearing, which is a temporary protective order. It is in DeKalb County, Georgia. We have Judge Edgerton right up here. And these two ladies are sisters. There's 18 years difference between them, but they are sisters. And the lady on the bottom, who Lawrence has said very accurately looks like a Victorian era ghost, is the one bringing the petition. So this lady right here. And then the lady above is the sister, the older sister. So I am so glad to see you all. Please do hit that like button or dislike button. That's how we clock in for our shifts here in the kitchen. I am chopping up. Oh, oh yeah, I want to hear what you're having for dinner. Thank you, Amy. Amy is having rice and green peas. Green peas. Green beans. That would be bad. Do not touch a green bean. What are you having for dinner? If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. That's okay too. I love to hear what you had for dinner. Richard Harrison would like a pan galactic gargle blaster cocktail for you, please. Hello, I wonder what that is. These Hands is having iced coffee as usual. It's in my email. I will check a case that showed a swear to. I will look in my email momentarily. Someone wishes Courtney wishes she had chocolate cake. Bitches Against Bullshit had Dairy Queen. Evelyn, thank you very much. Oh, it's gonna come. We know it's coming, guys. We're gonna get ready for oh yeah. It's coming. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Seriously, guys, all of you being here, I love it. I enjoy it so much. Every time I think, did I turn it off? I might have turned it off. Here, I'll do a test one.
Oh, yeah.
That was for you, Evelyn, because it was off. That was my bad. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Nobody wants a green bean, I don't think. Veggie stir fry with noodles I'm seeing from a Melissa, aka Mel. I mentioned it last week. Oh, I will check my email right away. I mention a lot of things. That is the way I see it. You know that. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, let's continue on with this TPO. Basia Minta, thank you so much. It should work now. It should be right here momentarily. Come on, baby. Come on, Kitch. Come on, Kitch. I've got it right. Ooh, Donna's craving pecan ice cream. Is it pecan or pecan? That's the question. Now I'm mad. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to work on this because we can't have enough of that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Okay, let's continue on with this. I appreciate.
Yeah.
Oh, now it worked. That was okay. Doubles. Love y'all.
Since this happened, once by my oldest sister. So she's using her as a tool. You're either a tool or a
I
target.
need names, or I'm not going to be able to keep this
Oh,
straight.
okay. So I
Who's
have
your
an
oldest
older
sister?
Terry Coleman, who lives in Maryland. So
And
once
when
she
were you
found out about
assaulted?
once she found out about the TPO, she
Estimated
came
date,
down.
please, before you carry on. Estimated date that this happened.
Saturday. I'm sorry. This past Saturday was May 13th. Is the estimated date.
So this is after you filed your petition.
Yes.
Okay, you have not told me about the things in your petition, despite my best efforts.
Oh,
You're going to
okay,
redirect. So your narrative starts with some things that took place. You talked about the cart, and you said that she brought food by.
Oh, yes. Okay, let me just
All right,
tell
so
a whole
let's try
story
to
about
focus
that.
in on your actual interactions with the
Okay,
respondent
that's the same
over those
petition.
few days, and then we'll figure
Okay,
out
so
what
she
else.
normally visits about once every 2 months. She came in to take mom grocery shopping. She came back with groceries on a maintenance cart, and she left that maintenance cart in the entryway. I do not accept any gifts, foods, or anything from that family at all. Never have. When it comes, I give it away. I also had a grocery delivery on the way, so it wouldn't make sense to have that. So I gave it away, and I pushed that cart right outside.
I got a question there. Did she just say that she gives away all the gifts that are sent over to her house from her family? She doesn't send them back. She just gives them away? Is that appropriate gift etiquette? Also, look at that straight ass beautiful julienne on this lettuce. Fuck yeah. Okay.
My door. And so she came back with a gallon of iced tea, something else my mom doesn't drink. And she noticed the groceries were gone. And so that's when she, flipped out. And so when she flipped out, she said, I will do something to you. I might have to leave. And so that was on the Saturday that she came in and bypassed security. Again, disturbing the peace. So obviously I can't keep her away because I don't have proof of the abuse, but it still has to be monitored by me. Nobody can just come in. That's why it's there. My mom had strangers coming in and going out at night. That's why I have a Ring camera. But it just
But it wasn't gifted to her. It was gifted to her mother. Like they went out grocery shopping and then she threw away the groceries her mom just got. That seems weird to me. Just give it away.
just so happened that I caught her. So when she did that, I called the police because the way she was going on a rampage, I felt uncomfortable and I didn't know what she would do. That Monday, she got the keys by turning in these some documents. The leasing office to this day would not tell me what the documents are, but I found out from the doctor's office. So all throughout the week, she came every single day, back to back, with family members who hadn't seen mom in over a year. Her grandkids put them in the camera, trying to taunt me and all of that, because she was showing, now I have legal access and I will do anything. Because somehow she talked the leasing people into giving her those keys with a $50 transaction, which to this day it still shows as a credit. I didn't know this, but she had also gone around to mom's doctors. Mom had breast cancer in 2020, so I had to take her to these important doctors. Every single one of her doctors I've taken her to. So 2 weeks ago, she went for a mammogram. I kept getting text alerts that the MyChart or online.
Reminder to everybody to get your mammograms and your balls checked, boys. Also, to anybody in the chat who's going through something right now, we're here for you. We love you. Also, please hit that like button and subscribe. I think there's like one spot left in the 1.5K club before we're on to the 2K club. So
system for Emory was trying to send me messages, and I'm sure it was the results from her mammogram. I didn't have access to it because she had turned in those falsified power of attorneys there for Emory and removed my email. So now she had access to all mom's medical, which mom would never have. And then when they recognized their mistake, they changed it back to my email address. They sent me to IT to make sure everything was safe and all of that. But they didn't think to change the username. So she used the username to change it back to her email address. I talked with the office manager yesterday who received that power of attorney. And of course, he didn't want to admit to his mistake because he didn't look in his files to see it. Actually says she has dementia. Actually shows me as the power of attorney. Actually has an advance directive from 2 physicians saying she's been lacking comprehension from 2021. But what he said was, we're going to have to get our legal team involved because we don't know all the legalities. I said, well, this is very simple right here. It says, lacks sufficient comprehension. That's why these are on file for protection. Moving right along, she also turned it into the police. So I felt uncomfortable when the leasing agent gave her a key to our apartment without acknowledging me. I said, oh no, this has to be documented somewhere. No way. I don't feel comfortable around. No way. So the police wrote it up. And then that's when my older sister came in the same way. Oh, Terry Coleman from Maryland came in, bypassed security. Hey, I'm here with her suitcase. And she was getting in and out of the apartment, and my mom couldn't find her keys. So when I was asking the office, they said, we don't know about all that. They were very hostile against me. She took my mom somewhere out on the road. All I saw was I-20 because I've always had a tracking app on my mom for 8 years. This has been ongoing. And so at least I would know where she was, but they were out later than usual, even from the previous times that she visited. And when all this happened, I'm like, I don't know where my mom is. So I reported it because she wasn't answering her phone and I didn't know what was going on. So finally, it showed the car returning and going to Deborah Berry's house. So my older sister, who had my mother in her possession, drove to Deborah's house. And I said, okay, I showed the police. I said, I see she's back in town, but she's at the house where we have a TPO against, a person we have a TPO against. They said, so they called her. And by the way, they had turned mom's phone off, so I couldn't track her at that time. But when they called her, they turned the network back on. They sweet talked these police officers, and the police didn't, after scrutinizing my paperwork for over 20 minutes to make sure I was the legal power of attorney and all this stuff, advance directive, all they did was talk to them over the phone. They didn't even go over to her house to lay eyes on my mother. And they never laid eyes on her afterwards. So what did they do? They took advantage of that time, which should have taken 5 minutes from Kroger's to bring her back. They brought my mom back an hour and 32 minutes later at 1:55 a.m. She didn't take her pills. Her schedule was off. She stayed up to 4 o'clock going downstairs because she was confused. And that was very disheartening. In addition to that, the reason I found out that they took so long is because they had stolen mom's phone and tossed it off the side of the road. Now, if the police had gone over and laid eyes not only on her, but to them, it would have presented some type of accountability. I don't think they would have done that. I don't think they would have done that little power move of taking an hour and a half.
My phone's going off. Hi guys. I just wanted to say, just like I said, the cool people hang out here just like you, but Credence and Mikey is here. So Mikey, Mikey's here from Credence and Mikey. Same with That Is the Way I See It. And this is a crazy case, Mikey. What do we think is going on here? First of all, I'd like to also point out we got a ceiling fan up in the top here. Nobody can stay on camera. Nobody, not even me. It's hard. I'm kidding. Anyways, I love you guys all so much. Let's continue watching. Let's see what Judge Dude does with this. Also, the Victorian woman down at the bottom here, is that a pigeon painting behind her, maybe? Pigeons, I think, maybe? Yeah. Also, her curtains look uncomfortably restrained, let's say. Like they'd be losing circulation. Also, hi, Chris. Holla at your boy. Oh, people in court, you're cool too. Lurkers. I love all my lurking creators and my lurking lovely ladies and men. I love y'all. All right, let's continue.
Have to bring her just to, to keep me concerned. I definitely don't think they would have tossed her phone out in order to.
So what happened to your mother as part of it, as an end result?
Yeah, she was brought back then, stabilized, and then the next morning is when I overheard that they were taking her out of town. So I said, Mom, you always like to have your phone with you. Let's make sure you have your phone. I began to ring it. I didn't hear anything. My oldest sister, who was taking her out of town, kept coercing her. Oh, come on, ignore her. And they finally got to the elevator. So I was like, well, let me try one more time. My sister pushed me off the elevator 3 times on camera. She assaulted me.
Ms.
Coleman, yes. She assaulted me right there, and it was just bad. I still got on the elevator, and that's when I realized the phone was in the same place as it was the previous night. So that's how I realized it wasn't on her person. It wasn't on the car. They had tossed it. The next day, I went out at 11 p.m., took an Uber, and as I was going out, Miss Coleman and my mother were coming in. And I went and I found the phone. Now, they were feeding her lies that I stole her phone and keys, again, all in an attempt to deter me. While I was waiting for you, the new order came in for her phone. If I took her phone, why would I purchase a whole new phone for her? The phone that she had been given, her original phone was put in the trash chute because I rang it and I heard it. So I let her use my phone. But she needed her own phone, especially after I found out that they tossed it. I didn't think that I could find it, but I thank God that I.
Guys, not only do we have a woman down here who is intrigued by phones from the 1800s, the woman up top, her sister is apparently from the 1990s. Check out that necklace. Check out that choker necklace. Do you know how long I've been looking for one of those? I want one so bad. So bad. She's got that choker necklace.
I could, but but I had already ordered her a new phone, and it literally just came in today. In addition, I don't know what happened to her keys, but I know 2 unauthorized people who don't live here were frequently coming in and out. So it's just been a lot. And I was told by Officer Bailey that it's best to press charges when they can see the camera footage, so it's not he said, she said. So that was the second assault. The first assault was when Terry Coleman had snuffed my mother down into the office in an attempt to get a key. I had gone down to get a copy of the fake power of attorney that they accepted for the first sister, Debbie, to see how would you guys give out a key to someone's apartment? What are these documents? When I went down there, the leasing office said, oh, I'll show it to you on Monday because I'm having a meeting with your mom right now. Does that make sense? My mom has dementia. I live here. I'm on the lease. Why wouldn't I be notified or know? Because my sister was in there. So when I attempted, then I heard my mother's laughter. And I have this all recorded. So when I attempted to go into the office to see what they're talking about, this lady, a pregnant lady, literally puts up her arm and blocks me. I said, okay, this is my mom. I'm going in. Then she uses her whole body to push me. Put a pregnant lady pushed me.
Who is this person?
What's that?
Who is this person?
Oh, her name is Deja Boyce. She's an assistant leasing agent. So both of these sisters, Debbie and Terry, have been talking over with them. That's why they can get over and not get reprimanded for coming in illegally. That's why they can get keys and have this access, because they have created this false narrative about me. It was all a plan once she got caught on camera and I gave her that TPO. They went on a retaliation rampage because, again, we live 5 minutes away, and in 5 years you don't know one doctor, and now all of a sudden you care. Anyway, she pushed me and she made a false claim that I pushed her. She called the police on me, threatened to press charges, but then they would need to have camera footage which would show the truth. Long story short,
when did this incident play out?
Huh?
When did this incident take place?
Oh my goodness.
Estimated date. 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago.
Oh no, last week. All this happened
after the filing.
Exactly. It's like attack after attack after attack. They try to turn everybody against you. It's called NPD, narcissistic personality. You're their tool or a target. Once you become a target, they turn everybody against you. Police, doctors, everybody in leadership to make you look crazy. She even said on the camera she was going to make me look crazy. That's their mentality. That's why they're dangerous. And I know that things may happen when you're younger, but I learned a long time with them. There is no changing. A hurt snake is still a snake. And when they recover, they bite. So that's why I had to cut them off. But I couldn't do that with my mom. Like, I didn't have proof. But these things are very real. So that happened last week. The only reason I knew is because my oldest sister, Terry Coleman, my mother, and a cop I saw on my Ring camera inside of this apartment. And I listened, and they were calling my name. So I didn't hear any of that. Or else I wasn't here. Because I would have come out and said, check the cameras. I have nothing to hide. Long story short, she didn't press the charges. I stayed there and I said, hello, I'm here to support my mom. They turned very hostile and belligerent and even threatened to throw us out. And if y'all can't get it together by your court hearing, then I'm gonna just have to let y'all go. I'm like, what's there to get together? Miss Evelyn Roberts is the senior leasing agent. She was the one making this threat. She had told me the week prior, after I had emailed her higher up about Debbie coming in illegally and then being able to purchase a key. She said, well, I'm not going to do anything else where it's just one person. Y'all have to.
Prayers for Keeper, guys. Also for people in court's finger, which I just read, looks like she got cut. Yes, prayers and thoughts for Keeper. If somebody has a link to that GoFundMe, you can definitely post it in here. We are all thinking of her. We're thinking of everybody. We're a team in here, guys. We're a neighborhood expression of care and a team. I tell you, a team. Anyways, okay, let's continue on. This lady at the bottom, I'm gonna have to say, she gave me crazy vibes at this point, you guys. Is anybody else getting it? Because I'm getting crazy vibes.
All be together. Really, I'm the only lease signer. It should only require me. But she knew that on camera that was showing that she was about to give now my oldest sister a key without my knowledge. The same thing that she did with the younger one, the Debbie. So Eric Burkett is her higher up. I asked him to change the locks at 8:30 a.m. I emailed him. By 9 o'clock, maintenance was there. Change the locks. Then I went downstairs and I said, can you please ensure that all key fobs, electronic key fobs, are necessary to come to the main entrance, that they're all disabled because Debbie had purchased them. I'm going to make sure that this is Miss Evelyn Roberts. I'm going to make sure they're all disabled. Okay. Then she gave us 2 new ones and 2 sets of keys for me and Mom. Well, that's when my oldest sister came down. And all of a sudden, she has keys and a fob to come in as she please, and my mom can't. So I asked them just yesterday, I said, I pleaded with them, can you please get a new set of keys for my mother? I will pay for them. And I need to know why my sister, who is unauthorized and doesn't live here, even though she's daughter, she's not on a leash, she doesn't live here, why can she be coming in and out all this weekend? No, she's not. I said, it's on camera and fobs are traceable. Well, your mom has a key. We gave her one. And I said, when? They would never answer. She's on her way in now with your sister. You can ask her. I'm on the phone with you, ma'am, and you distributed them, right? I'm just asking, when did you give my mother a key? What? They would never answer it. Instead, her boss, Evelyn Roberts, got the phone, yelled at me, you're a live-in caregiver, click. That was the end of that. So you know what that tells me? That the same issue that I contacted her higher up, Eric Burkett, about, I asked him, how can we ensure that this problem never happens again, that we nor the other residents in this building are put at risk? And he answered very vaguely because they didn't want to acknowledge they messed up the first time. He said, office personnel will be handled accordingly. And they ended up doing the same thing when my oldest sister came just a week and a half later. So that tells me that they probably did give my mother a key. And why would you ask me to ask her when you know she has dementia? I believe they gave it to my oldest sister, Terry, and they're using her, manipulating her in this stage, just like they did to get her to sign the advance directive, to sign the power of attorney. How can they get her to sign something April 27th? By the way, that's only 3 days after this filing. I'm telling you, it's a retaliation effort to try to take over and try to destroy me. They only steal, kill, and destroy. How can you get her to sign anything where it requires you to put a date, and she hasn't been able to tell you what year it is in over 2 years? So,
all right, Miss Berry, this would be the chance for you to suggest questions. Got a bit of an echo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, can you hear me?
We're just gonna deal with it, and then I'm gonna mute myself after I finish saying what I'm gonna say. So, this is the chance for you to suggest questions to the court. If I think they are relevant or appropriate, then I will ask them. Keep in mind the standard of proof for stalking. It is defined under Georgia law as a course of conduct that is harassing or intimidating with no legitimate purpose. And all of those words have their own specific definitions under Georgia law. So is there any conduct that you think she alleges fits in that category that you think the court needs to address with follow-up questions?
Absolutely not. I have never stalked Charlize. basically, and I see my mother all the time. I talk to my
I'm going
mother.
to press pause right here on you, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
As I mentioned at the beginning, the part where you get to tell your side of the story has to come at the end. So we're not
Okay,
quite, we might be at the part where you get to make statements, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay, so
but if not, we're potentially close. All right. So, Madam Petitioner, did you have any other witnesses you intended to call? I'm sorry, Ms. Frizzell, did you have any other witnesses you intended to have testify?
Oh, no, sir. No, Your Honor.
Okay, so with that, the petitioner has rested. Now, Ms. Berry, we were closer even than I expected. This would be the time for you to make a statement if you wish to make a statement. If you want to do so, please raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you swear any statements you make to the court will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. What would you like to tell us?
I want to tell you just a little synopsis so you get a clearer picture. When my mother came to move to Georgia, I was traveling. I was traveling in and out of states. Charlize, myself, and Terry, my mother has 3 daughters. So we did not know the true condition of my mother. When my mother came to Georgia, Charlize said they lived here for months. They did not. My mother was here. My mother was happy. I didn't know the full condition in reference to the dementia or Alzheimer's because we had not seen any paperwork. We were in the process of getting that done. Charlize only stayed here. When Charlize came, Charlize stayed here not months. Charlize was here less than a week. Charlize her behavior basically was so sporadic. I'm not kidding you. That I told Charlize, you have to get it together or you're going to have to move. I left to go to work. When I left to go to work, Charlize did leave when I came back, but she left with our mother too. Charlize had our mother out here on the streets in Atlanta, Georgia, homeless. We could not find Charlize or my mother. We were looking everywhere. It wasn't until my sister Terry got in touch with Reverend Timothy McDonough at First Corinthians Baptist Church on Moreland Avenue. And that's when we found where our mother was. In between all of this time, I was already in the process. I am the one who moved my mother from Minnesota to my house. I paid for the move. I paid for everything. My mother was disoriented, but because Charlize had sold everything that she owned, even her car. But in my thinking, I'm like, well, okay, Charlize just did what she had to do. You know, she felt like that's what she had to do. From the start, once my mother got here, once I realized, hey, mommy, Charlize hasn't been upfront with us. You know, she hasn't been, and I'm going to say something else. We have never seen any paperwork in reference to dementia or Alzheimer's. My mother, in my opinion, basically was stressed. She went through a divorce and she was always running, looking for Charlize. Okay, my mother had a nervous breakdown. Charlize was homeless in Minnesota. She had just got put out, and my mother had just got divorced. Charlize had just got put out her apartment in Minnesota, and my mother said, "That's enough. I'm coming to Georgia." My house has always been open for my mother.
All right, I need to steer. So
I just wanted to give you that, and then I'll go to.
And I tried to kind of give her the reins to go, and so I hate to kind of put some guardrails on hers, but specifically this, the part where things are being said that are said by other people, that's really, I can't give evidentiary weight to it, and so what I want to focus in on is what's happened over the last month at the.
Okay.
So talk.
My mother, we talk all the time. I see her all the time. Okay. So my mother, when she calls and says she needs something, I'm there. You got it. So my mother called and said, we were talking. We talked hours. I'm not hours. I can get your phone records. And she says, Deborah. I said, huh? She said, Mommy, you need anything? She said, yeah, I need a shower chair. I said, really? She said, yeah, I got a little small sore on my leg from like the cancer. It's the size of a dime. And when I'm standing up taking a shower, I get tired. I said, okay. Now I didn't question the fact because Charlize has the room with the bathtub. My mother has the room with the shower. I could have said, well, Ma, why don't you switch out? I did not. I said, I'm going to get you a chair. I bought a shower chair on Amazon. had it put together, and delivered it and took it to my mom. Okay. The next day, hey, mommy, how you like that chair? Oh, I haven't had a chance to use it. I said, okay, when you going to use it? Well, I don't know. I can't see it. I said, huh? I said, well, mommy, it's in your shower. I put it in the shower. So try out the chair. Okay. So then a couple of days later, I said, mommy, have you tried out the chair? No, but somebody else has. She's referring to Charlize. So when she refers to Charlize, honestly, I kind of like change the subject sometimes because they live together, and my frame of mind, honestly, she is unstable. Okay. And I'll get into that. So I was like, okay. So I said, okay, well, if she's using it, because other things have come up missing, not just that. All right. So then I go see my mom again. So then we're talking, and I said, Mom, I'm coming to get you. I get over there. She said, I want to go to the grocery store. I said, okay, let's go to the grocery store. Whenever I take my mom anywhere, she's not paying for nothing. She picks out her groceries. She pulls her grocery cart. I let my mom be as dependent as she can be because I know from being in nursing, from being in CNA, it's important to be as independent as you can be. My mom chose all her groceries. I paid for it.
All right. So did you gain access to the apartment?
I gained access to the apartment by asking. Everyone knows me and they see me and they let me in. I'm at the door. They know me as Lucy's.
Who is everyone? Employees, residents, or somebody else?
Residents. So a resident let me in. Residents. Residents know me as Lucy's daughter. Lucy Buckner, our mom, has already told them to let me and Terry in. There is no question about that. There's no past insecurity. There's no illegally getting in. They know me because I'm there. They know me as Lucy's daughter, and they know Lucy has no problem with either one of her daughters coming in that building. Nobody's going to let
strangers. So how did you get access to the physical apartment?
I don't have access to an apartment. Charlize, I want to say she's misinformed, but Charlize is lying. I have no key to my mother's apartment. I've never had a key to my mother's apartment. What I have is, so let me tell you how I got a kiosk to actually get in the building, but not to get to the physical apartment.
You're talking about a key fob,
a key fob, yes, a key fob to get in the building, but never have I had a key to get in her apartment. The reason of that is because when I got back from the grocery store with my mom, it's all on camera. My mom said, put all the groceries up. She told me where to put everything up. I said, okay, mommy, we didn't get any meats. I said, let me go back and get some meats from a different store because the meats were so expensive. Now, normally when I do something for my mom, I bring it, I leave it. I don't come back for a couple of days. This particular day, for whatever reason, I don't know why I did something differently, but I'm glad I did. I went and got the meats, spent $60 more, and then let me back up. So when we got the groceries, it was $120 worth of groceries. When we came in the building, people that live in the building were down in the area, and the maintenance man was down in the area. We were all laughing, joking, and things. And then we had so many bags. So I asked Bill, the maintenance man, where is the cart? Because they normally have a cart for the elderly to use to take the groceries and things up. He said, I had it. He said, I go get it. He went and got the cart. He came back. He says, dirty. I said, that's okay. It's in bags. And this way we don't have to make as many trips. We can just take it up. Took the food up, put the food up. I said, Mommy, I'm going to leave the cart here, so I'm going to get the meat. When I call you, you bring the cart down, and I can put the meat on and bring it back up. When I went, I was gone for an hour and a half to get the meats, the other groceries. When I came back, I was calling my mom to tell her, okay, Mom, bring the cart down from the car because because I'm coming. I didn't have a key fob at that time, a kiosk to get in anything. So I was calling her phone to come down to bring the cart down to get the meat. She wasn't answering. So again, the residents know me. I went in. And then when I get up to my mom's apartment, the TV is blasting. Mind you, my mother does not play her music loud like that. She never has. She never, ever has. It's blasting so much that it's coming out. I can hear it in the hallway. So I'm like, I'm a little complex. So I'm knocking on the door. She can't hear me. I'm knocking on the door. She can't hear me. And finally she comes to the door. I said, Mommy, wow, why is the TV so loud? Oh, Charlize did that. She's a little disorientated. I said, well, can you turn it down? I can't find the remote. She goes behind the TV to unplug the TV. So then I look and I said, oh, Mommy, I said, because I had put all the fruit in the fruit basket on the counter. I said, oh, Mommy, I'm not knowing anything. I said, Mommy, you put the bananas in the refrigerator? Because I had put oranges, apples and bananas. So all the fruit was missing. So I'm just assuming it's in the refrigerator. I said, "Oh, mommy, you put the bananas in the refrigerator?" I said, "Bananas go brown, you put them in the refrigerator." And then she looked kind of complex. So then I just opened the refrigerator. I was going to take the bananas out the refrigerator. All the groceries were gone. Strawberries, grapes, bananas, 2 gallons of milk, orange juice, all types of vegetables, coffee, sugar, flour, everything. Because then I started looking at the cabinet and I'm like, wow, what is happening here? I mean, what happened here? You know, because I know different people come in the building and things like that. So now I'm thinking that, oh my God, somebody had been in my mother's apartment. Okay, so now I'm a little frantic. I'm a little scared. I can't call Charlize for the simple fact that Charlize does not correspond with anyone in the family. Absolutely no one in the family. My mother's brothers, sisters, her aunties, me, my sister, absolutely no one. So we kind of like
we have been going a long time, and we have got to focus on the questions that I have to answer. And so here is the focus. She has given descriptions of you taking your mother off-site at odd hours without permission. She has given descriptions of physical altercations between her and your sister, as well as a leasing apartment and an apartment complex employee, I guess is what I'm going to call him for now.
Okay.
Do you have any testimony or statements to make regarding those particular issues?
I have never taken my mother offsite. I take my mother wherever my mother wants to go. At hand, the reason she did the stalking had nothing to do with whatever she's talking about. My sister will talk about that. The reason she did the stalking is because when I noticed all the groceries were gone, I had some words to say to her. Because for number one, the music and the reason I'm saying this, when all the groceries was gone, I know that my mother did not watch Charlize take all those groceries out the house and not say anything to Charlize. Okay? I know that that did not happen. I know that Charlize was in there in a rage throwing that groceries out that house. I said some things to Charlize. I told her I was going to go to the administrative office and see what else she has been doing. And then I knew that television was loud like that so that other people could not hear what was going on in the apartment. Charlize, that happened on the 22nd. Charlize didn't do this stalking thing until the 1st. I never stalked Charlize. I had no reason to stalk Charlize. I've never physically abused my mother, never physically abused Charlize, never touched Charlize, never touched my mom, never would, never have. So no, I've never stalked Charlize and I've never caused her any harm or any damage. You'll have to speak to Terry, who is going to be a witness today in reference to what happened at the leasing office that just happened this past Friday. And then you can also speak to my mother's sister, who's a witness today, who was Deanna, to what happened. Now, in between that time that I had choice words with Charlize on that Saturday about the groceries, since then, I was over there that Sunday. Charlize was in the apartment walking around talking. On that Monday, Charlize walked down the hall with me and my mother, got on the elevator with me and my mother, went down in the lobby areas, waiting in the lobby area with my mother. And every day after that, up until the 1st, I had been to my mother's apartment. Charlize was in the apartment. My mother was in the apartment. And then even on the 1st, when I got this so-called stalking order, I had just left the apartment, picking up my mother. Charlize was there, picking up my mother. I had just brought her some dinner, and me and my mother came back to my house at 7:45. I took my mom back home. At 9 o'clock, that's when I got the information from DeKalb County about a stalking order. All these things that Charlize is saying about dates is a lie. All of it is incorrect. The power of attorney came on that Monday, not after no TPO, not after anything. After I realized what was going on, because when I saw all the groceries were missing, I immediately was going down to the office and the residents, I say, something's going on. I said, do y'all have anybody stealing in this building or something? Somebody has gone to my mother's apartment and stole her stuff. The resident says, well, no, who lives next to your mom? I said, well, the one across the hall, I don't think she would do anything. I said, I don't think she would do that. So I'm thinking that somebody in the building stole these things. When I get down to the lobby, I'm asking people are telling me to come here. They want to talk to me. And I'm thinking they're going to talk to me about something, about somebody's messing with my mom. They want to talk to me about Charlize. They want to talk to me about.
We're not going to talk about what anybody else wanted to talk to.
I know, but you have their information. You have their names and numbers.
We're here now, and so
okay,
we're gonna go with this now.
Okay, thank you.
So, All right. Miss
So
Frizzell,
that is
do you
how
have any questions that you think I need to ask Miss Berry?
most definitely.
No,
So,
I don't think you understood my question because it
Oh,
wasn't directed to you. Miss
I'm
Frizzell, do you have any questions that you think I need to ask Miss Berry?
Just real quick, I don't use shower chairs, number one, and it had hair on it. That was
No,
gross.
this is questions. I need
Questions,
I
okay.
need a single sentence that ends with a question mark.
Okay, so as far as me going down on the elevator with her, wasn't it because she refused to leave on camera when I saw mom had a swollen wrist and I made a doctor's appointment? And she said, "Oh, well, we're all going to the doctor's appointment." Was that not what it was for?
All right,
Is
we're
that
gonna break
why
that
I
down
was?
into some pieces. We don't need to ask the question multiple ways. So,
Okay,
were
okay.
you aware that your mother had a swollen wrist, Miss Berry?
I was not aware that my mother had a swollen wrist. I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that a doctor's appointment had been made?
Charlize said, no. I'm going to tell you, no. Do you want me to elaborate or no?
Right now, I want to break down the answers to the questions and we'll figure out if any elaboration is necessary. So, Miss Berry, did you ride the elevator down with Miss Frizzell or did she ride with you or did you ride the elevator down separately?
We rode the elevator down together.
And she already asked you to leave at that point.
She had not asked me to leave. Me, Charlize, my mother, and my mother's sister rode the elevator downstairs together.
Okay, and then what happened?
When we rode the elevator downstairs together, Charlize was exclaiming, "Oh, mom has a doctor's appointment. I called an Uber." I said, "Well, okay, that's fine. Now we're peaceful. I'm peaceful. My sister, my auntie is there too. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to the doctor's appointment with you," because a lot of other things had happened in between that Saturday and up until then. I said, "I'm going to the doctor's appointment with you." Okay, so we waited 30 minutes, no Uber. I said, "Mommy, come on," because we came there to take my mother to lunch. I said, "Mommy, come on, let's go ahead and go to lunch." And Charlize said, "No, the Uber will be here in 10 minutes. All this time, Charlize is texting. She's texting. So I'm like, okay, maybe the Uber's kind of off, COVID-19 or whatever. So then now residents are down there. So then a resident says, "There goes Charlize again. She didn't call no Uber. She called the police on you." And we looked up and it was DeKalb County. So she lied about the doctor's appointment. She actually had called the police trying to get me and my aunt removed from the property. DeKalb County came and asked my mother, did she want me or her sister removed? My mother said, "No, absolutely not." And then Charlize hollers, "She's incoherent. She's delusional. Don't believe anything she says." My mother is looking at Charlize like she's half crazy, and so am I. When Charlize does this, and I said, "That is not true. That is not true at all." My mother says that's not true. So then DeKalb County.
Do you agree that your mother is suffering from dementia at whatever stage it's in? I know it progresses, it's complicated. Some days are better than others. It's not a linear thing.
Exactly.
You agree that she has a diagnosis or a condition, whatever language you want to use for that, right?
She has not, I'm not sure who this is, my sister. She has not, if Charlize, okay, that's what I'm going to get to.
Hold on, that was an easy question.
I agree that my mother may have some stage of dementia or Alzheimer's, okay? I agree that my mother does have some stage of dementia or Alzheimer's. Do I agree that she is delusional, incoherent, and cannot speak for herself? No, I do not. DeKalb County pulled my mother aside and talked to my mother for 20 minutes, not with me and not with Charlize. After they spoke to our mother, they came out of that room and told Charlize, "Let me talk to you." They told me and my auntie we don't have to go anywhere because they were able to have a conversation with our mother. They told Charlize that she had no merit to call them. My mother did not want us to leave. They told Charlize she had no merit to call them.
All right. So, Miss Frizzell, what is your next question?
No, that's all.
All right. So here's the deal. And I'm going to be as plain as I can in this. I am not a very handy person around the house. I can't fix much. But when you're going to do a job, you have to do it with the right tool. We recently had some problems with our sink that required some things with the plumbing to be disconnected, reconnected. You had to make sure that it wasn't leaking, it wasn't flooding. And when I started trying to do the work, it was flooding a little bit. And so there's a towel under the sink for that reason. But what's important is that when you go to do that job, you do it with the right tool. I wasn't going to fix those pipes with a hammer. What I needed was a wrench. You have come here today seeking a hammer. It is not the tool that you need to do the job that you're seeking to do. Even if I believe everything that you have said, Ms. Frizzell, one, a large number of the problems that you outlined, including and especially the physical altercations, are with another free-thinking human adult, and you have not filed a protective order against her. There is not evidence here that is sufficient to suggest that the things that were done by Ms. Coleman were done at Ms. Berry's behest. And even if they were, your grievance in that case is with Ms. Coleman more than it is with Ms. Berry because she's the one who chose to do it. It's that old theory of if your friends told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? If Miss Coleman decides to start something with you, that is Miss Coleman, not Miss Berry. Even if you think Miss Berry told her to do it, implored her to do it, begged her to do it, your issue would be with her.
I understand.
Now, even so, even putting that aside, the things that are happening here are not stalking behavior as it relates to Miss Berry. Stalking behavior is done to harass and intimidate and has no legitimate purpose. You've described incidents, you've described conflict that has arisen around her presence and her proximity to you. But she is not doing these things even in the way you're describing to be around you at all. It's being done in relation to your mother. Now, probate court is an entity that exists primarily to deal with these types of issues because the issue you're dealing with, these orders are emergency interventions to prevent ongoing violence. That is what these orders exist to do. It is when someone's life is in danger of being physically taken from them. In the simplest, starkest terms, that's what these orders are for. Now, you can get protective orders for less than that, but what they require in the case of family violence is that acts of violence have already been committed by the person on the other side of the case. And in the case of stalking, it requires acts of stalking, which by their definition have an undercurrent of violence and threats to them for these orders to issue. And this is quite simply, this is not what this court is here for, and it is not a court that is capable of addressing the problems that you're describing. And so with that explanation, because I know this case is an onion, it has more layers than I can count, but this is not the remedy that you should be seeking for the problems that you were describing. And so based on that, what I need to do, what the law requires based on the evidence and facts and testimony presented, is that the protective order will be dismissed. Whatever other issues remain regarding the safe and effective care for your mother, I hope can be resolved peaceably and civilly. And if they can't, they need to be resolved through the court system.
They will.
And so with all of that, I can tell the passion both of you have in your voices as you talk. And that's a sign that you're both here at the end of the day about somebody that you both care about. And so with that, whatever your other disagreements are, I hope you know that you both share that common ground. I wish both of you luck moving forward. We're going to place you both in the waiting room, and you and any witnesses you may have had present for today are free to log off. Thank you both.
Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next. I think that was a definite dismissal all across. Okay, the cat is yelling at me. I'll be right there. Let me just get this one going, please.
The sort of the 2-sentence version of how you're connected to Miss Hargrove.
We worked in the same job, and it was friends casually, and that was it.
All right, is Miss Hargrove a DeKalb County resident to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right, and you described some incidents in your petition that I'm going to try to ask you about with some specificity. You say that you've been receiving phone calls, numerous phone calls that you say are from Miss Hargrove. How do you know they're from her?
She's calling my fiance, leaving a message saying that me and Devon is still dating. And she always called. Time I was being around her, when I stopped being around her, she'll call numerous numbers, no call ID. She left voicemails on my phone as well as my fiance's phone, as well as she came to my fiance's house and got on the recording leaving letters saying that we still got dealings, which we don't. I haven't seen her grow in a year. August. Last time I seen her, I haven't got in contact with her. I don't even have a phone number. So yeah.
All right, so you're able to hear her voice on the voicemails and identify that as being
yeah. Then
with her.
Yeah, on the LinkedIn, she left the link in on my woman phone. Well, on her LinkedIn, it said Ashley Hargrove. We got a picture of Ashley Hargrove. Her principal stated that she have done this at her school. People have came. One lady came to her school.
Well, we're not going to hear anything about other people because that's not a part of this case, especially if it was told to you by other people and they're not here. So, so we're 4.5 months into 2023. About how many phone calls would you estimate you've received from Miss Fargrove this year?
This year, I say probably like 4 or 5.
4 or 5 calls during 2023.
During 2023?
Right.
From my phone, probably not my phone, but I've been seeing like no caller IDs. But from my fiance phone, numerous of calls because I know it's her from her.
Okay, so give me an estimate for each one though.
For me?
For your phone and for her phone.
Probably like 100.
You think you've got about 100 calls this year from her?
No, you asking from me, Divine Dime, or my woman?
I'm asking you for two numbers, a number for each, a number for you, a number for her.
When you say her, Marshall Moore or
your fiance or girlfriend?
Oh yeah. So like 100, like 100 plus actually. If I say 150.
Give me the last 4 digits of your phone number.
The last 4 digits of my phone number?
Yes.
I cannot.
Actually, I'm sorry. No, don't do that. You have a phone. You have a cell phone, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
How many times has that phone rung in 2023 and you think Miss Hargrove was on the other end of it?
I say probably like about, let's say 10.
Okay, so 10 times over 4.5 months.
Yeah.
And then for your partner, you're saying about
250.
Okay. So what conversations have you had with Miss Hargrove this year?
This year I haven't had no conversation with her.
Like have you answered any of the calls that have come to your phone?
No, when it's call ID, I don't answer my phone. But
so you're basing your suspicion that it's her. Walk me through what you're basing that on.
The pattern when I was with her, when I cut things off, she would call my phone, no call ID, and I have a new phone. I got a new phone. I got a new phone number, so she don't have this phone number. And I was trying to see how she was able to get other people numbers, just like kind of illegal to me. But I know for a fact the times I have called ID definitely been her because nobody else really called me. I know it might sound.
Hey, have you been left any voicemails by Miss Hargrove this year?
On my phone? No, I haven't.
Okay. Have you seen her in person at a place? Like, has she shown up at your job or your house or anything like that?
Yeah, she showed up at my house.
And when did that happen?
That was what? Actually, she showed up at 2 of my residents. The first time that was like 3 weeks ago.
Late April.
Late April, and she showed up in my other residence. That's probably like 2022 of what let's say spring of 22.
Spring of 22. Okay, so let's talk about the one that happened in late April.
Yeah.
Walk me through what happened.
I got our neighbor stated that a young lady came to the house, walked from their house to our house, my house, and left a note. And stated that me and Devon are still messing around and all that. She never gave proof. She just left a letter. And we got the video. We got the video. The neighbor, she has it. And the neighbor described, how, Hargrove looked.
So where were you?
I wasn't at the house.
Okay. And where's the video?
Our neighbor has it.
All right.
Yeah, we'll submit it.
And I know that you're going to have another witness,
Yeah.
or at least somebody be coded in. Can you go ahead and just tell me who the witness is?
Marshall Moore.
Okay.
I say, yeah.
So, all right. Have there been any incidents that I have not thought to ask you about, especially from the last 12 months, that you believe need to be discussed?
Yeah, she upset my mom. I don't really want to. I can get my mom involved, but she has sent threats to my mom. She have came to my house on one of it at my first residence. Drive by, blow the horn. That's how I know the time to call. She was calling repeatedly, and yeah, she verbal, and she has coming around. I don't need. That's why I'm doing the restraining order, because she don't need the place that. My thing is, how do you know where I stay at? My first residence and then second residence. And for you to call Marshall number, how do you have Marshall number? The only reason she not really contacted me because she don't really have my number. And she probably do. But it's harassing me as well as my woman. But this thing I should have done when I cut things off. I just had to do it now because I kind of moved on in life. And for me to experience this, it's like a pop-up thing. It shouldn't be. I shouldn't. And we don't even have dealings. I haven't been around her. I think I had seen her in like August.
All right. So that's the last time you actually laid eyes on her was probably around August, because you weren't there for the incident when she came by a few weeks ago. Did you actually recover the note?
Yeah, we got the note. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was the note?
It was inside the door, and we got the video. But yeah, it was inside the door. Somebody dropped her off. I think she got off at the passenger side.
All right.
Still have the note.
All right. Well, Ms. Hargrove, do you have questions for this witness at this time?
No.
All right. We're going to bring in Ms. Moore then as your witness, and we'll swear her in.
Let's see what this witness says. She's wearing a tank top. Great start.
I think Ms. Moore, she's in.
All right. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Marshall Moore.
All right. Can I have you raise your right hand? Do you swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. So let me ask this: I'm going to try to break this down as specifically as I can. What in-person contact, if any, have you had with Ms. Hargrove?
No in-person contact. I haven't had any.
Okay. And what other forms of contact have you received from Ms. Hargrove?
Well, I know I've gotten over 100 calls, and texts and voicemails and pictures on my phone from her. She's reached out, and she sent me a picture of this too, reaching out to my job, which I'm a realtor, reached out to the GREC and sent me pictures that she was going to do it as well. And yeah.
So when you say she sent pictures that she was going to do it, what was depicted in these photographs?
Now she was going to go ahead and make some false, basically complaints on me to the real estate commission.
Text messages.
Yeah.
So, and how did you know that the contacts were coming from her?
Well, I first went to Devon about it first, about, who was calling me because she left, voicemail. And he confirmed that it was her. And then also after that, when I checked my LinkedIn, she pretty much was stalking my LinkedIn because you can, view the profile. So then I confirmed that it was her that was calling my phone, private and from different numbers.
Okay, and were there times that you would either interact with her or have messages left by her?
Yeah, she left messages. I didn't talk to her too much because I just let her just keep texting and texting, just not really responding to it.
Okay, and what was notable about the messages? What was she saying? What was the general, what seemed to be focus, I guess, if you could call it that?
Well, I guess in the beginning she sent, I guess, pictures of Devon. I don't know if it was before me or whatever. However, she got him. He said she got him on his phone. After that, she sent messages like, hope you die, die, bitch, all this kind of stuff like that to my phone. Yeah, threatening messages.
Okay, and those seemed to be focused toward you.
Yeah, more so me than Devon.
Okay.
Momentarily, guys, I just want to get Nana's opinion on what you just heard there, Nana. What do you think? Come on, tell us what you think. What do you think about her saying, I hope you die, bitch? It's not very nice. Okay. And that's Nana's take.
All right, Miss Hargrove, do you have questions for this witness?
No.
All right, Mr. Diamond, do you have any other witnesses you intend to call at this time?
No, I don't, because I got a whole, I call the whole family line, but I don't want to get more people involved in this. I'm just gonna get involved. I'm gonna handle it, me and Marshall, but she's coming to the house. She's doing it, and nobody, she's not being stopped. I talked to the police officer. I got a police report. So far, so she come anywhere around me. If she come in hostile, I can't defend myself. Even if she come to Marshall.
I'm going to stop you there because it's right now. First, I'm going to move Miss Moore back to the waiting room because she is.
I also wanted to say something else too. I wanted to know because she got a lot of my information, how she got it anyway.
Well, that might be a question if she chooses to testify, but in terms of the order, I know that the witnesses don't come in for the part of the hearing where I kind of give the parties the lay of the land, but but that's a question that we can inquire about through Mr. Diamond if the respondent chooses to testify, but it's up to her. So I'm going to place you back in the waiting room for now, and then we'll continue on with the hearing, and we thank you for your assistance today.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Hargrove, you have a choice in these matters as to whether to testify or remain silent. If you choose to testify, the things that you say can be used against you in other proceedings. What would you like to do today?
I would like to testify.
All right, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear any testimony you give to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. And just to make sure, I do see that you have a witness in the waiting room. They are not physically located with you. Is that right?
I have one physically with me, and I also have one in the waiting room.
Okay. So who is physically with you?
My son.
Okay. And how old are they?
He's 13.
Okay. Is there somewhere that he can step out to? And the reason I say that is typically when parties are testifying, we don't have them. We sequester the witnesses so that they're not hearing the testimony of the other parties on the case, because otherwise they just come in. I had one witness literally say, "Oh, everything that she said." And it's like, well, that's not helpful. We want to hear your version of the events as you experience it. So is there a place they can stand elsewhere or wait outside the door?
Yes. Is he going to get a chance to testify, or?
If you wish to call him as a witness, that's your decision.
Okay.
And then you do have a separate person in the waiting room, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just let me know once they're outside. You've been sworn in, and then
Wait. Okay, let me put him in the next room.
Mary Beaver might have to come out here and do some protecting if this kid's going to get up on stage. Guys, this is a great opportunity to go and hit that like or dislike button. That's how we take attendance here. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What would you like to tell us today?
A lot of this is retaliation. I haven't seen Mr. Diamond or, one second, let me close this door. I haven't seen Mr. Diamond since, I want to say December or early January, at a basketball game that my school had against his school, the previous school that I worked at.
And you said that was when?
It was late December, early January. I have to look back at the schedule of the basketball season.
We'll just round it off and say 4 to 5 months ago.
Mhm.
Okay, and you saw him there, and what happened?
It was a lot of interaction between my children and him. My son did tell me, I don't know if I can tell you this or he needs to tell you this, but my son did tell me that while the teens were practicing in the hallway, that he pulled him to the side and stated, well, he said, "How's your mom doing? I just moved, I got a new place." So that was one of the things. And then my daughter told me that he kept pulling her during the game, like touching on her. There's cameras everywhere. I actually had to explain to another coworker here what was taking place, and they did state to him that they would put him out the building if he kept speaking to me. Again, this is retaliation from the last school. Mr. Diamond would meet me at the time clock. He would take pictures of me while I was on my duty. He got removed from his floor and put to another floor because of the relationship. It became abusive. And I do have paperwork here from the hospital stating that I did go because we did get into an argument, and I felt the need to go. I'm not sure what's going on with his new life. Mr. Diamond has called my son phone numerous times private. I do have the call log here of when he would call. He would also call from his uncle's phone. I have a video from his uncle. I have a lot of stuff. Even back in July, I think it was, I was on my way to a funeral up north. He called my son's phone. So I texted the uncle's phone because I didn't have his number at the time to see what he wanted. But that's his way of getting in contact with me. He would call private or he would call from his uncle's phone, and eventually he ended up calling me from his number.
All right.
A lot of this stuff took place in the last building that I worked in. I had numerous conversations with the principal stating that I was uncomfortable with him being in the building, so they did move him to another floor. I did state that I did not want him to get in trouble because at the time we were in a full-blown relationship.
Don't interrupt, sir. This is her portion of the proceeding. She stayed quiet while you and your witnesses gave your testimony.
Mr. Diamond, we started out dating. He gave me this perception that the house he was living in, it was his mom's, but she was engaged and she was living somewhere else, and that him and his uncle were renting from her. So I've been all over his mom's house. I hate to say it, I've had sex in his house. My kids have slept in his house. It's a lot of things that go on with Mr. Diamond, and I'm not the only person that.
Gonna have to just back that up here a quick moment. Did she just say had sex in his house?
In it was his mom's, but she was engaged and she was living somewhere else, and that him and his uncle were renting from her. So I've been all over his mom's house. I hate to say it, I've had sex in his house. My kids have slept in his house. It's a lot of things that go on with Mr. Diamond. And I'm not the only person that he's done this to. It's someone else in this building that he did the same thing to. But I requested for a emergency transfer from that school because I no longer wanted to be around him. It wasn't a good environment for me or my son.
So was that emergency transfer granted?
It was. I'm at another school.
And when was that granted?
I want to say February or March of last year.
Of 2022.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, not last. Yeah, last year.
Okay, so like 15 months ago.
Mhm.
All right. And so he and his witness have testified that there have been a number of calls from private numbers, from including contact from your LinkedIn and voicemails that have come from you toward them. So
Okay.
how did those come to be?
I have no clue. I am on LinkedIn. I am in school, so I can ask anybody to be friends. So honestly, I don't even know this girl or his fiance, should I say?
But you came to our house.
So,
Our house.
with respect to the note that was left a few weeks ago, because he said he referred to residents as plural. So, what was in the note that you left?
What resident?
Talking about the same alleged event. So,
I haven't been to anybody's house, and I haven't left a note. And if he's saying that there's video of me, can we pull up the video?
yeah, I mean, that's going to be a question for rebuttal here momentarily, but and so just for my clarification, I'm going to take a brief step out of order here. So, Mr. Diamond, who is the primary or the long-standing resident at the location that you were referencing where you say the note was left?
Primary Marshall Moore.
Okay.
My name is on the deeds.
Okay, but was she living there before you were living there? Now you're both there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I?
Do you have the video to present to the court today?
Not today, but I definitely have
the voicemails that were left to present.
Yeah, just a minute. Hold on, just a minute.
Okay.
Second.
God, I was out on the porch for a second. I thought I broke him, but no, he's thinking. I also thought Judge was Creed framed for a moment there. Judge, what are you doing?
Just give me a moment, Judge. The voicemail is coming. I just had to just get it. So just give me a second.
You've already had more minutes. So many people just suck at lawyering and being pro se lawyers today and lately. I think the judge is looking up plumbing stuff right now. Come on, dude. This is like really bad for the flow.
All right, here it goes.
What the hell's that?
Okay, was you able to hear that?
Sort of. I mean, I could hear that there was a voice talking, but I couldn't exactly make out everything that was being said.
Okay, yeah, it was kind of short, but that's her. I'll play it again if that matters. I'll play it one time. And,
So, what was said at the end? I couldn't hear the last.
It was get by, give me a call back. Love you.
She said this message is for who?
The Diamond, Divine Hub. This message is for Diamond, then Divine give me a call back. That's what was stated.
Okay, so are there any messages that are left that contain threats to harm you or threats to your safety?
In the past, I have. I think she.
Do you have any from this year?
Any from this year? Not necessarily. I don't.
Okay. All right. Ms. Hargrove, anything else for their rebuttal testimony?
No, sir.
All right. Here's what I will say. Situations are complicated. Court situations, especially. There are two different things, both in the real world and the law, that go on. In the real world, somebody tells you they don't want to hear from you, they don't want to talk to you. That's their right to say it. One of the frustrations that many people have with the law, which I very much understand, is that what we're here for today is a civil hearing. And that feels like a less intrusive, less contentious way to try to handle our problems. The difficulty in these specific types of situations is that protective order rules are not really written to deal with these problems. There are two particular problems with this case. One, most of the contact is being directed towards someone other than the respondent, or than the petitioner, Mr. Diamond. It's being directed to somebody else. Two, the theme, the undercurrent, the focus of this, by and large, not 100%, but for the most part, seems to be about a continued attachment to Mr. Diamond. It is not primarily focused on threatening Mr. Diamond or even threatening the second party for the most part, although I understand there's some of it that goes in that direction, even if all of this, is 100% proven true. To get a stalking order, a 12-month stalking order, you have to show a pattern of behavior of contacting a party without their consent for the purpose of harassing and intimidating them, and each one of those words has very specific definitions under Georgia law. And so what I will tell the parties is this. I don't think any of the three parties that have testified thus far today, I don't think the two on one side want to hear from Ms. Hargrove. I don't think Ms. Hargrove necessarily wants to hear from Ms. Moore or Mr. Diamond. But what I will say is this: it's been made clear in open court that that is the situation. If there are breaches of that request in the future, sometimes, and this is one of those situations because of the nature of the relationship, the remedy for that is what's called a harassing phone calls warrant application. It is not for a stalking protective order. And the reason for that is because this is a situation where you two, it doesn't sound like you ever lived together or had children together or were married. So it can't be a family violence order. Most of our cases go into that bucket and they're handled differently and they have different rules. Because this is not one of those cases, when we look at the contact that's happening and what it's about, the two keys here to me on this particular case are the repetition, the volume of contact, but then the fact it's directed to someone else or through someone else. And so what I expect to happen moving forward is that we have I think we've been clear about setting the expectations moving forward for what this contact should look like, and the parties understand that if those rules, requests, demands, whatever you want to call them, if those things are breached, then where it's heading is a criminal arrest warrant. So even though I can't extend the protective order today based on the evidence that's been presented, what happens is that the case is reflected as dismissed without prejudice. That will be done by the end of the week. It'll be fully uploaded. But the parties are on notice as of this court date in case there was any doubt that contact from one party toward another, no matter what it's about, whether it's violent or not, intimidating or not, threatening or not, it is unwanted and is therefore criminal because you are now on notice of that. So the parties are going to
just intervene. All right, so you stated that you're going to dismiss the case. I understand. So because Marshall got a TPO also that's coming up on the 19th, I'll be her witness. So when we have the video and we have the link in, also if we can get other witnesses, we definitely want to get her served from. I can't get served. But if she come around me, I stay to the police and all that. What would happen? I won't.
I would say that if you think you have voicemails, videos,
even from the
text messages, first off, whatever it is, whoever made it or kept it or produced it, they probably need to be the one to authenticate it. That is, they need to be the one to say it is what it is and it has not been edited or altered or it's not Photoshop if it's a video, but you know what I'm saying. It hasn't been faked. But voicemails, text messages, emails, videos, those are all things that can be submitted to the court in advance as evidence for consideration in a case. I'm not the judge on Thursday. I'm guessing Thursday the 18th is when you're coming back. Because we don't have court on Friday the 19th. We don't do this court on Friday the 19th. There is other court on Friday the 19th, but it's not this. So if that is true, and if you intend to present that evidence, or if Ms. Moore, because she's the petitioner in that case, if she intends to present that evidence, then what she needs to do is secure it all and figure out how to submit it to the clerk so that it'll be part of the case file when the case goes forward on Thursday or whatever day, if that's correct. I don't have the system pulled up in front of me, but that would be, whatever day you were given somebody was given notice for. If that's the case, then any witnesses who have been a part of this chain of events, whether that's somebody who sees her at Miss Moore's property or something else, whether it's a picture of the note, voicemails, text messages, videos, or anything else, then you submit those as evidence and you'll be able to have the judge on that day consider those in ruling on that petition. So this particular one would stand dismissed without prejudice, which means because stalking is a pattern, if a pattern continues to build and you need to come back to the court, you can essentially refile your petition, add new evidence to it, and essentially say, well, what about now? Is it stalking now? Does this change anything? And you can get a ruling. But for today, your petition will be dismissed, and this does not have any bearing on any other orders that may be in effect, served or unserved. Those terms still remain as they are. The parties will be placed in the waiting room. And then
also, as far as the phone, you said the phone application thing. How can I? What was that again? You said the phone harassment, because that's the main thing, the phone harassment. So how can I get in contact with that?
if people, you'll already have cases pending here. But if something happens and you believe there's an ongoing concern, then there's a process to apply for warrants through magistrate court. And so that's on the website, and it's, I think, at the downtown courthouse, if I remember correctly. So that'll be there. So we'll place you both in the waiting room for now, and you're going to
one more before you go, Judge. Being that I got a police report, if the person come within my reach, what rights do I have?
A police report's a police report. It's a piece of paper. It doesn't. You have the rights every American citizen does live in their life, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not giving any more advice or answering questions, because if I get an incomplete set of facts or something's left out, and I say, well, then this is allowed. I'm not saying it's allowed because I don't know everything, and so I don't like dipping my toe in those waters.
Gotcha.
What I'm going to say is, you've been clear you don't want to be contacted. So from this point forward, if you or Miss Moore are contacted, then you can always ask the court if that's an appropriate remedy. If you seek to file a warrant application, if you can prove that you're being contacted by that person, now that you have confirmed that that person that you don't want their contact, and the court will hear your evidence, and you need to have it and be ready to present all of it. That includes any additional pieces, not just testimony, and they'll consider it and they'll say yes or no, because that's how court cases work. And then if they say yes, it goes from just being you and your witnesses to being all the parties on the case, similar to this process, and then they make a ruling. So we're going to place everybody in the waiting room for now. Please make sure you attend any future court dates, if any, that may have been said in other matters. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Quick question. I only received paperwork for today. I don't know anything about the 19th or the 18th.
I don't either, and it's not for me to look today. I don't think it's appropriate for me to go dig through the system to find out what else is out there. So I don't know what to tell you about that, if anything. So you can contact the clerk's office if you have questions, and they may be able to assist you with what obligations, if any, you have moving forward.
One day we have 44 cases though, so it's not the largest.
Did you say had or have?
Had 44 with Judge Bethel. It was when he was on vacation.
And who covered it?
Judge Bethel. Yeah.
I'm just no follow-up. All right. All right. Is this Mr. Dill?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Dill, good evening, and thank you so much for your patience. I know this has been an adventure. We have been going nonstop since 9 o'clock. We took about a 20-minute lunch break, kind of quick, because most of us were in a position that we didn't need longer than that, but we were trying to do the best we could to move through this calendar as quickly as we could. We have reached your case and are ready to proceed on position 32, 23 PO 4270. So I'm going to ask, if you would, please raise your right hand for me. Do you swear that any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
All right. The person that you filed against, Miss Reed, are they a DeKalb County resident to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I filed a little late because I work every day. And
okay, but you were living together at the time you filed at the end of April. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. In your petition, you detail an incident that took place in March of this year. Tell me what happened.
Well, Toriana started getting to the point where she pulling out knives on me and stuff like that. And she's being very aggressive, and I try to get her to calm down and talk or whatever. Going through my phone, cussing, yelling out loud and stuff. I was cussing too. You know what I'm saying? But it was the incident she was trying to stab me, and I got my CDLs, so I was fed up with it. And you know, if you get in trouble with your CDLs, you can, you know, probably like lose them or whatever. So I had no choice but to call the police. I called before she was arrested, and she had a warrant because she left out of the house when the police came. She left out of the house and they went looking for her, but they couldn't find her. I was fighting her, trying to get the knife off in her possession. She was on top of me. So we rolled on the floor from the bed, and I put my weight on her body, and she said she couldn't breathe. So I eventually grabbed the weapon off her, and I just ran to the rental car. I had a rental car at the time, sat in the rental car, made the call. She left out, hid somewhere, and the police came. Well, the March situation, it was the same type of situation where we was talking to the living room.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but Miss Reed just logged back on.
Okay.
I'm going to bring her in.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
Here we go, babies.
You want me to wait for a second?
Yeah, I'm going to give a little bit of an intro speech, and we got to make sure that her video and audio work.
Okay.
It looks like her video. Let's see if her audio.
Recording in progress.
Okay, she's good.
All right, Miss Reed, were you able to see and hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So we are pretty much just at the outset of your hearing. We were just barely into it. So we'll backtrack a small amount, but this is how it's going to go. Each of you is filed against the other. And so the order that we will move through these hearings is going to be, it's a little bit unusual compared to a conventional case. I'm going to hear from Mr. Dill and hear his testimony. You'll have the opportunity to ask him any questions or really suggest to me questions you think I need to ask as far as the claims that he's making. You'll have the opportunity to testify about what you've experienced, both in response to him and, your own testimony that hasn't been discussed yet. He'll have a chance to suggest questions and then a chance to provide rebuttal testimony as well in case you cover anything that he didn't speak on during his part. So that is essentially going to be how we proceed. The standard of proof and protective orders is more likely than not, essentially, preponderance of the evidence is the legal term for it. And we have to determine that acts of family violence have been committed and that this order may help prevent acts of family violence from occurring in the future. And so that is essentially the standard to which we will be held. So, Mr. Reed, since we're back in, you've got a prompt to unmute there. And since Ms. Reed has just joined us, Mr. Dill, do you swear any statements you make in this matter will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. So you were beginning to describe two incidents from February and March that resulted in arrest warrants that were issued against Ms. Reed. So we'll try to discuss those one at a time. Talk me through the incident as it happened in February.
Okay, the incident that happened in February. Well, I have the videos. There's so many videos I have of it occurring. But what happened in February was she was attacking me with the knife. She hopped on top of the bed. She was on top of me, and I had to wrestle with her to get the knife off. When I wrestled with her, we fell on the floor. When we fell, I was able to take the knife out of her hand to where I proceeded to walk to the rental car. I sat in the rental car, called the police. She left. The police came. I showed them the video of her trying to stab me, and they went looking for her. They didn't find her at all. So they gave me a case number and everything, and I guess they put a warrant out on her arrest. I didn't know if they had a warrant on her arrest or not. So around March, around March, it was another incident to where she pulled the knife out on me again. It was in the living room. I was telling her to chill out, calm down. She was like walking up on me. She had the knife in her hand, telling me she was gonna stab me. And I told her, I was just gonna walk outside and take a break. Walk outside, took a walk, called the police. The police came. They seen the video. They was finna let her go until they ran her name, and she had a warrant on her name. So she was arrested for that situation. And Judge, I also have the videos if you would like to see the videos of those.
So where are the videos?
Well, I can play it on my phone through my TV and show you like that.
We can try that, and
We
see.
we got one in the case too. I can.
Oh, you already sent one in, sir?
Yeah, it was kind of short. The ones that I sent in that was kind of more lengthier, they were sent as mail drop. So they say you guys couldn't get them as.
There's a cap on how big the files can be. The server won't take them. Yeah. So let's look at the one. We'll have Madam Clerk share it for us, and we will see how much we can see, and then we'll figure out where to go from there.
Whoa. Larry.
Why you gonna stab me for? Move, bro.
Sign that fucking contract.
Move, I'm not trying to get stabbed. It's like on a short video that I could send. I sent more, but they said they don't take them in files.
All right. So what contract is being discussed?
I don't even remember. I know it wasn't that serious for her to pull a knife out on me, try to stab me with it.
What kind of knife was it?
It was like a scissor knife, a double-sided scissor knife.
All right. Let's see. And so she was arrested and then bonded out sometime later. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Before we figure out how we're gonna go with the videos, Miss Reed, do you have questions you want to go ahead and ask this witness about what we've handled so far?
Yes, because I've contacted DeKalb County way before this even transpired, back in November and December when Mr. Deal put his hands on me.
Hang on. This is we got to break this down into stages. This is the part where there are questions for him. After that is the part where you can make your own statements.
I have no questions.
So no questions for him. Just want to make your statement.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So please raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you swear any statements you make to the court today will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right. You can put your hand down. What would you like to tell us today?
Okay. The reason why I went ahead and got the restraining order, I have an out-of-state number. Okay. I contacted DeKalb County back in November when Mr. Deal first put his hands on me. I sent my pictures in and the text messages of him trying to apologize. So it just kept progressing on and on. The third time, I was fed up. He hit me in the face with his gun. So I told him, this is it. I called DeKalb County. They didn't show up again. He kept telling me, nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to have your side. Nobody's going to believe you. So when we went to Florida after Christmas, it just kept progressing. I was getting accused of cheating, all of this. We were fighting and arguing every other day. Now, up until the point now, I didn't actually physically stab him. I just wanted to grab something to defend myself because he always would run up on me and physically hit me. So I told him, you hit me again, I'm going to stab you. I'm not going to lie about it. That's what I told him. I never physically touched him with a knife. Anytime I grabbed a knife, that's when he wanted to start recording me. That's how I got in trouble. This last time I called the officers, I was calling them every other day. The officers finally let Mr. Deal know, you can't keep putting your hands on this lady and she can't defend herself. Her grabbing the knife is in a self-defense. Me going to jail, he co-signed for me to get out, to come back here to argue with me, to run me. Like I told Willie Deal, he has no control over me. If you don't want to be with me, leave me alone. But the whole being physical with me, no. So I went ahead and put the restraining order in because I'm not getting any results back. And it's not fair. He hits me first and then he gets away with it. His excuse was his CDL. Don't call the police on him because of his CDL license. No, I deserve better. I don't put my hands on him. I treat him well. I'm done.
All right. So you filed your petition around the 24th of April,
Yes.
which I think was a Monday, and you're talking about some stuff that happened around the 18th of April, which was about a week before.
No, sir. This started, the physical abuse from Mr. Deal started with him back in November.
Right.
All the way up until the day they removed him. I called the police that night. He put his hands on me before. He hit me in the back of my head while I was sitting on the bed. That's why I called the police on him.
Okay, so let me ask this. Were you the person that filled out your petition, or did you work with an agency like WRC to have assistance with that?
No, I filled it out.
Okay. My apologies. I'm going to be coughing a lot while we finish up. All right. So in your petition, you said on or about April 18th, 2023, respondent committed the following acts: hit, knees, and spit in my face, pointing gun in my face, and said he'll shot me.
Yes.
So when did that happen?
That was the same night I put the petition in. Because the officers came out and said, Ms. Reed, go ahead and fill out this and get it in. Because it is getting to the point I was calling them every 2 days.
Okay, so this was about a month after you bonded out of jail.
Yes.
Okay. And so since you bonded out of jail, you've been residing back at that same location?
Yes.
And he has too?
Yes. I have the recordings of everything. I'm telling my mom she could come back here, we'll work on it. And then as soon as something doesn't go his way, he's trying to threaten me with the no contact order. Which I told him I wouldn't even done it if he was going to do all of this.
Judge.
All right. Well, hang on. Miss Reed, is there anything else you want to tell us before we turn to his portion to suggest questions?
No.
All right, Mr. Reed, Mr. Dill, excuse me. Do you have any questions that you think I should ask Miss Reed during this portion of the case?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. If I have done all those things, why haven't you called the police when you know that you say you feel like your life is in danger? I surely would have been arrested. Why haven't you called the police and let the police know?
She's already addressed that in her answer by saying that you would invoke your CDL as a reason not to risk you getting in trouble. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah. But isn't that kind of crazy? Like, if you feel like your life in danger, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll still go
these
by.
need to be factual questions. What you're asking is really an argumentative question. So let me ask this. Where are you right now, Mr. Dill?
I'm currently on Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Okay. Are you at the home that you two share or no?
No, sir.
Okay. Miss Reed, where are you?
I'm at the home that we share.
Okay.
The sheriff removed him from here.
When he was served with his order?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you between the time that order was issued?
I was here with him. We had got into an altercation that same night, and I called him back out here. We both were here.
Okay, so from March to now, you have continued to reside at that location?
Yes, sir.
And so, Mr. Dill, where have you been staying during this time?
Well, sir, I end up been staying with my brother or whatever, trying to, get my own apartment at this moment. I haven't been around her and, don't want to be around her, sir. She can keep the spot and all that, and I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just,
You'd rather move on, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to show you. That's why I waited this long for the hearing, because I have evidence, despite on what anybody have to say.
All right. Do you still have personal belongings that are at that location that need to be retrieved?
No, sir. Some of my personal belongings was thrown away. My TV was broken, and it says in the TPO that my stuff shouldn't be damaged or thrown away. I have a picture of that as well.
All right.
TV he's referring to, I have a video of him confessing that it got broke while we were fighting. So I can send that in.
I'm not trying to, sir. I'm not trying to argue with you.
So here's the situation. This is it's 6 o'clock at night. We've been doing this since 9. I'm trying to keep my wits about me. Things happen all day in every single case that absolutely continue to confound me. What is baffling to me in this case, Miss Reed, you got arrested on 2 separate cases. You went in front of a judge. It probably wasn't me. There are like 30 of us. But you would have gone in front of a judge and been given a bond, right?
Yes, correct.
And then your bond would have had conditions attached to it, right?
Right.
Which would have told you to
stay away from him, but I had nowhere else to go. He contacted my mom. She put him on 3-way on the phone. This is where driving me nuts because I've been beating myself up about this whole situation. It didn't have to get this far. I understand I stood in front of the judge, but I was talking to my mom trying to get away from this man, and he contacted her. Promised me when I got out, everything would be fine. If he was so done with me and I was so horrible to him, he wouldn't co-sign my bond. I let everybody know I was willing to sit in jail because of him. I understand everything. I know what I did wrong, and I hate that I even trusted him to come back to this apartment. I know what I said and what I signed for my bond. This is messing up my life, and he knows he is in the wrong, but it is okay. This too shall come to pass. I understand what I did wrong. I messed up and came back to this apartment because I trusted in him yet again. And now it's getting to this point, and I'm trying to do right. I called the police. I'm tired. He's getting away with everything. I called before him when he first put his hands on me, and I still got let down. Now my life is getting messed up. It's not.
So, Miss Reed, whose name is on the lease at that location? I'm assuming there's a lease.
Our name is on the lease.
All right. Has either of you tried to get a name taken off the lease?
No.
I'm trying to get my name taken off. I've been calling the apartments. They haven't been answering the phone. And I feel like we're grown. Both of us 31 years old, and you know, and maybe in Illinois you can get away with stuff like that, but I know for a fact that Cal County do not play violence.
All right, so here's a few things going on. Miss Reed, he's saying he's willing to.
I've been talking to the leasing office.
Ma'am, I was just getting started though. So he has indicated that he's willing to move out and move on. I guess to him, his move out is complete, and he wishes to move on. So I know you were about to tell me about the leasing office. Are they amenable to?
They have all the videos of Mr. Deal, everything.
I'm asking about that. Is the leasing office amenable to removing him from the lease?
To sign the paperwork over ever since this been happening. We've been waiting on him.
I bet call. I can't go over there, sir.
I can give you the direct. I can email the direct number to the owners of the apartment.
We got the dial cranked up to about a 9 right now. I need it at about a 6. So, because I'm struggling to get the answers without things just kind of snowballing. So, Mr. Dill, how big is this apartment complex?
The apartment complex is not that big. It's big, but it's not that big. So,
all right. Are you saying that you don't think you can go to the leasing office based on the existence of the protective order?
Yes, it says 100 feet away, and the leasing office like right across from our old apartment. So that's why I haven't been over there. But they also have my Gmail too. If they were looking out to contact me, they could have, hit me up on my Gmail like they always have.
And you say you've not been able to reach them by phone?
No, sir, I have not. I've been calling them. They usually answer, but they haven't been answering.
All right. Give me one moment. I'm looking at.
Because I was paying bills over there, but since the TPO is like, I paid my last month rent before the TPO came. I paid my half, because I feel like I'm not going to pay all the bills. I'm arguing with somebody. They should have their half. And after that, it's blasphemy to pay a bill if you're not staying there. You know what I'm saying? So
I have a question.
All right.
like I say, Judge, I got the videos of each occasion, whatever had happened. I called the police, let them know many a times. One situation haven't happened where I didn't call the police.
So here's the situation. I think each of you would agree that you'd rather be free and clear of the other one.
Yes,
You have both been clear about that. And what is unusual about this case, I'll even use the word special, is that you're in agreement about where you want that to be or not be. Mr. Dill, you want to be somewhere else. Miss Reed, you want to be where you are without him. So what we have is a strong foundation upon which we can build this house. Here's what I'm going to do for a few reasons. And I'll try to explain some of this as I'm explaining what it is. And I'm making my notes, so give me just a moment.
Judge is getting his revenge on these people with these crazy cases today by making them wait. Look at the freaking lighting from these two people. Think about this, guys.
All right. I have not heard any mention of marriage or kids. Am I correct that there is no marriage and they've never been kids as far as between the two of you? Okay. There are different boxes we have to fill out or consider if those things are in place, and they're not. So this is going to sound confusing, but I think when I'm done saying what I'm going to say, please bear with me and listen, because I think it's a solution that is going to work for everybody. Technically, I am ruling in favor of Mr. Dill in this way. He already has a special conditions bond in his favor that directs the respondent not to have contact with her. However, my ruling is going to be this. I'm granting a 30-day protective order. It will expire June 15th. The possession of the property will go to Miss Reed. The petitioner is agreeing by his own representation in court that he wishes to relinquish any present or future temporary or permanent claim to that property. And the petitioner shall be allowed to go to the leasing office to sign the papers that Miss Reed says are already waiting for him to sign. And that can be done without any violation of a court order. It can also be done without any contact with Miss Reed. And so Mr. Dill, Miss Reed has made it clear that she wishes to move on from you as much as you claim you wish to move on from her. Understand that to some extent, these court orders are still a two-way street, and that your actions, to the extent they invite or incite responses from her, can put you in legal danger. And it's a lot more serious than just the CDL, although I know people work real hard to get that in the first place. And so based on what the parties have said about where things are right now, there's not any reason for anybody to have any contact from this point on, from the point that we sign off. And what I will say, Ms. Reed, for you, is that even though right now it feels like what I'm saying is no, this, I hope that you can see that this is structured in a way for you to continue to be in the place you want to be, to live the future that you want to live. And I also want to make sure that you know that if something else happens, then you add it to your petition and you come right back. And we will get you in front of a judge and hear what needs to be heard. And we will start this process anew for consideration. And so these are stressful and challenging cases. It's especially stressful and challenging when we are more than 9 hours into our court session. And so, especially to the extent that that's true, I want to thank you both for bearing with us through a very long day of court. I know that is a confusing ruling in some respects, or a strange one at least. But I hope the explanation I've given makes sense and that each of you understands why I'm choosing to do what we're doing today to resolve these two matters. So with all of that said, Ms. Reed, we're going to just get an email address from you before actually we have your email address from the other case. We don't need to get any information from you. For today, each party will be clear to log off, and my order that explains my ruling will be put to writing and on file later this week.
Look at me making playlists that will play. That's how we do it today. Seriously though, guys, this is the last TPO we have for today. This will be our fourth. I'll get rid of the red flag. Let's put up some beeve. Leave the beeve. This is Kimmy Beaver. We all know her as Kimmy Kim Beaver.
All right, we're going to begin momentarily with the hearing. Mr. French, I saw that you just put your headset on. So just in case, we are about to begin with the hearing. So please make sure that you're pulled over and stopped in a safe location. We are here for essentially a 12-month protective order. The way that these hearings go is as follows. It's the petitioner's case and her burden of proof. So that means Ms. French would go first. She would present her testimony and be subject to questioning. If she has other witnesses she intends to call, she can let us know, and then they'll be called to testify. They are also subject to questioning if they testify. When the petitioner has rested their case, the respondent has a choice of whether to present evidence or not. If they present evidence, they will be questioned. Any other witnesses that testify would also be questioned if there were questions the other parties or the court wanted to ask. So there are standards that we are looking for. This is a civil proceeding. It has to be shown that it is more likely than not that acts of family violence have been committed, and that this hearing may prevent future acts of, or the order may prevent future acts of family violence from occurring. Acts of family violence include, but are not limited to, battery, simple battery, assault, stalking, trespass, or any felony offenses of this state. Ms. French, I'm going to send you a prompt to unmute. I'm going to ask that you raise your right hand when you're ready. Do you swear any statement court today will be under penalty?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. And the respondent, Mr. French, is a DeKalb County resident. Is that correct?
You're asking me? Yes.
Yes. Okay. And you indicated on your petition you are present or past spouses. Are you two still married?
No, we are.
When did you get divorced?
We've been separated since 2014 and then 16, and then we've been officially divorced since 2019.
Okay. And you have one or more children together. Is that correct?
We have two. We have a son, a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter.
Okay. And so prior to the filing of this protective order, what was the arrangement with regards to the children and custody?
We have 50-50 custody. The children are, it's 50-50 right now.
Okay, and that's in terms of parenting time and
yes, this should be everything. Everything should be split 50-50.
Okay, and what led to you filing for this order?
On April, I believe it was 19th, I took the children to their grandmother. His mom was having his sister was having a party for his mother's birthday. I think she's 86 now. And so I thought it was a good idea. My mom had actually told me about it, and I thought it was a good idea since, she's getting older, that the children go to that. I thought it was important. So I called and I made arrangements for them to go over there. I dropped them over there to the sister's house to the party. It was my knowledge that Mr. French was not going to possibly be attending, but in case he was, it would have been fine. Plus, my daughter hadn't seen him in a while because she has been staying with me temporarily. So I dropped them there. I left them there because I didn't have any reason to not. And then when I went, Mr. French had texted me previously in the week when he decided that he gets to go, that he would take the kids home. And I said, well, no, I'll pick the and then pick them up. If you want to leave early, whatever, because I was coming back there to see, the other people that were there once their dad had left. So to me and said, I'll bring the kids home. And I said, well, no, that's okay. I'm coming there anyway. I gotta bring some stuff for your mom. He did not listen to that. He actually,
I just want to know what internet he has. That he is like smooth as whatever, driving down the freeway. And then she appears to be stationary and not coming through at all. It's confusing to me. And then, of course, the judge is beaming in via his hologram, via the mirror in a bathroom that you just had a shower in about 27 minutes prior. So the mirror is just slightly weird. Anyways.
left with the kids, took the children away, without telling anyone that he left. So he took the children, so didn't know that he had left, and proceeded to. We didn't know where he was going. Nobody knew he was going. I didn't know he was going. So my daughter texted me to tell me that she was leaving. I'm like, well, how are you leaving? She's like, well, Dad's taking us home. I said, but I'm not home. I was going to come back and get you guys. I'm not anywhere near home. So I thought maybe Mr. French would take them back to his house, which is around the corner. It's literally minutes away. So I called him. I said, where are you going? He said, well, I took the kids because the kids wanted to leave. I said, well, don't do that. Just take them back. I was like, where are you? He said, well, I'm right around the corner, so I can meet you wherever you want. And I said, okay, I would like to meet back at your sister's house. And so I hung up the phone and left it at that. And then I asked, I wanted to find out, since I wasn't at home, I wasn't even in the vicinity of my home. I needed to find out how long, how far are you guys away from home? So my daughter, how far are you away from the house? And my daughter says, well, we're not at home. We are, somewhere that I know is close to my house. So Mr. French proceeded to continue to go to my home and with the kids. And I called him and told him to bring them back again, aggressively told him, bring the kids back. My children said that they did hear me when I screamed out on the phone. I texted him as well, told him to please bring the children back. He didn't. He proceeded to go to my home. He proceeded to go in the direction of my home, knowing that I'm not there. I texted him, they don't have keys. There's no way for them to get in the home. Nobody's there. He still continues to drive. And then I called my son called me and told me that, I said, oh, okay, I'll be there at your aunt's in a minute. And he's like, well, we're not at our aunt's, we're at home. And I said, well, how could you be at my house? I told your dad several times, I'm not at home. There's no keys. Why? I don't understand. I'm confused. And so he's like, he didn't know. So I told my son, just I guess, tell dad to bring you back to my house. I mean, bring you back to your aunt's house, because that's where I was at the time. I had found my way there. I thought they were going to be there. They were not. So to my home. I mean, waited for him to come there. And then I thought he was just going to drop the kids off and then leave. His sister has a very long lawn. There's no reason for him to come out. He had his someone with him. So I thought he would just drop the kids off and then go. But he did not. He got out the car and started walking, over. I went to hug my children and say, hey, and try to play everything off. But then he got out the car and I didn't understand why he did that. So we proceeded to have an argument. We argued. But then I told him that, I don't understand why he did that. And then he proceeded to let me know that he did this because I picked my son up on Wednesday when he asked me not to. Me picking up the kids from school on his days is not something unusual. On this given day, he was very intent on picking his son up, even though they had to come to my house. He was very upset by that. And then this is what he did to do that. Now, days later, I go through my children's phones periodically and to make sure that they're, not doing things that they shouldn't do. But I saw my daughter's phone. She's a 13-year-old girl. She records everything. So she records things. And I saw, and this was I don't even know how many days later, but then I saw Mr. French on video trying to open the door and enter my home. Even though he knew that I wasn't there, he walked up to the door. He tried to open the door. He's asking kids what they want to do. And I'm confused because I told him to come back to my house. So he's asking the kids, what do they want to do? I thought your mom was going to be here. I told him I was not going to be there. So I've told Mr. French in the past, he's entered my home in the past. Without my permission. He's come in
hang on, Ms. French,
to drop things off, my door unlocked.
So it could be you, but it could be me. But I think you were starting to say that he has previously entered the home without permission, and that was where it slowed way, way, way down, and then all of a sudden it sped up real fast to catch back up. So I missed all of that. So if you could walk me back from there.
Okay, so he has entered my home previously without my permission. I do leave my front door unlocked occasionally. I've lived at this home for 9 years. Occasionally I leave it open. My kids, my kids can come and open, in and out freely sometimes when we get out the car, depending on where I'm going or where I'm coming back. He knows that, and he has opened the door to the front of my home without and I've told him, just leave it. I don't have any problem with people stealing packages, anything from my home. I asked him that maybe a total of, he did it 3 times. And then I texted him one time and said, based on our previous conversation, do not leave stuff. Do not open my door. Don't come in my home. And he did it. And I'm sorry, the last time he stopped after I texted him to doing it, but he did not stop after I asked him to do it. And so that was a total of 4 times I had to ask him to stop. And eventually he did start the things in the
He's so bored looking.
Tried to open my home again. Looking at him do that, to me, it made me feel unsafe because I know that I previously tried to tell him not to try to enter my home. And I didn't know I was here alone. So that's why I did not feel safe, especially filed for full custody of my children. My daughter has currently been staying with me.
I'm laughing so hard at her Okay. Okay. Let's see how long she lasts.
Basically because for you know her what Mr. French is going to do in terms of that. And so that's why I went ahead and filed the order, because I don't want him to not be able to come act, back and forth with and for the children, both of us, but I don't want him to have access to be able to just really think he can come to my, my door and try to enter my home. I've tried
the current custody
to tell him not to do that.
Sorry, I think your connection skipped. I didn't realize you were still speaking. So, what is the current custody arrangement regarding pickup?
Custody currently.
I'm sorry, say that again for me.
Regarding pickup, we should on non-school days. In the morning.
Ms. Goodman, can you tell me if this is a me problem or if this is a...
No, it's the petitioner's connection. I can't hear
Okay.
anything.
I mean, I know I've had my connection blips today and other days, so
Non-
check.
Miss
days.
French, if you could hear us, we can understand you.
From each other's homes. And
Miss French, can you hear me?
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have the problem. Yes.
So we cannot see you, nor can the connection. Is
Okay.
really
What
poor.
do I do? Because I had no the facility. Yeah. Yes.
If you could just find better.
I didn't have any issues with the facility. Okay. I didn't have any problems. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. I didn't have any problem earlier.
Okay,
It
it looks
probably
like your
just went down. Can you guys see
connection
me
is
now?
improving. Yeah, I can see you now, and it looks like it may be improving.
Okay, maybe I'll stay here in the front of different part of my home.
Is your Wi-Fi on?
I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm on my connection. If I turn the Wi-Fi on, the connection will be bad. I don't want to do that. But can you see me? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, Judge, can you hear her? Because I can hear her fine now.
It suddenly got very, very clear. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll stay here. Okay.
So,
I'm sorry about that.
So you described this most recent incident at the house. When was the last time before that he either made entry or attempted to make entry into your home?
And that's another thing I wanted, because I came to court this morning. I thought we would be in person. I was one of the people that showed up. So I didn't send my evidence because I thought I would be presenting it at court. I have the text message. It was probably back in February of this year when I sent him the text to tell him not to enter my home again.
All right. And so the time that, the most recent time he was there, he had the two children there with him, correct?
No, he came by himself. When he did that, because the arrangement is we drop the kids off at school, and then on the days he drops my son's computer and his he has a headset thing, a VR headset, and he drops those things off at my home. That's always been what it is, and we've never had any problems before. I mean, he's dropped things off at my home before, but then he decided that he didn't want to leave the computer outside anymore. So he decided that he was just on his own going to drop it inside. And I told him not to do that. I don't understand why you need to drop it inside. Just leave it right outside the door. I'm usually dropping my daughter, I'm usually not just leave it at the front of the door. I know you're coming. I'll be back to get it. And he just did not hear me when I told him to do that. I asked him 3 times not to do it. Well, I asked him 4 times not to do it. And the 4th time when I texted him, he stopped. But he would open the door, put the things in the doorway. I wasn't here. The things would be at the doorway. I'm not home. I don't know. And so it's just the idea that he didn't listen to me when I asked him to do things. And this is just one situation of other situations that, I'm just trying to go based on what I put in the order. And then when I saw him enter my home, excuse me, try to enter my home and take the kids. Just have any reason why he did that. I mean, he did it to get when he was saying that I'm here to pick them up. When we were arguing, he ended up saying that. But to put the children in that where they didn't know what was happening, they were in the vehicle with him and his girlfriend. They did not know where they were going. You know, they didn't know if I knew or wasn't sure what was going on. Just to get to know is the reason why I did this, because to me, that wasn't something that somebody, you know, would rationally do. And I believe that it might have been a point where he was being a little bit irrational, and I didn't want that to happen again when I'm home.
All right. And has there ever been any physical violence in the relationship, like hitting, pushing, kicking, shoving, things of that nature?
Wow.
All right.
So it's just basically intimidation, and I didn't.
All right. And so as far as I had one other question I had thought of. What was it? Okay. And then what is pending in Superior Court right now in essentially in the family court system between the two of you?
We have a officer French, you know, due to things with my daughter. My daughter was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Now, am I supposed to tell you that whole thing? The whole story with that? I don't know.
No,
yeah. Well, my daughter was
in the court
diagnosed
system?
with major depressive disorder in 2020, in December of 20. Okay, that's what I want to know. Yeah, the child custody case. We have.
All right. I think I've completely lost your audio. Maybe, maybe not. But so
You
the
able to hear
child
me?
custody case is pending. And who filed for that?
I did. Me.
Okay.
I did.
And you're scheduled for a court date on that in July. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Again, at this point, I'd really like to know what headset he's using because his connection, again, has been stable. Guys, I just made myself a lettuce wrap with the taco leftovers. Instead of the taco, I had lettuce. And then the taco meat and the insides. It's good. Okay, let's finish this one off. This is our last one for tonight, and then we are all getting good sleep. Well, I'm going to try.
All right. I think that's all the questions that I have at the moment. Mr. French, we've told you like 4 times today you're not supposed to be driving. All right. Do you have questions for do you have questions for this witness? I think you said no questions, but I'm trying to read lips. You have a prompt to unmute. You'll have to hit that before I can hear you. Do you see something on the screen?
Can you hear me? Yes, I see it.
There we go. Okay.
Yes, can you hear me now, Ben?
I can.
Okay.
So did you say no questions?
I don't have any questions. I want to comment about some of the stuff she said.
So if you want to testify,
because
I'll
we
be
have not
asking
had
you to
any
raise your
physical-
right hand and swear you in, and then you can testify. Is that what you would like to
Okay.
do? Yes, it is. You're a step ahead
Yes,
of me. You
please.
swear any statements you make to the court will be the truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand
Truth.
down. What would you like to tell us?
The time I went to her house to drop the kids off, you know, I had the kids with me just to drop them off. I've never tried to enter a home or try to break into a home. And then one time I put the computer inside the door was when I saw her driving away from her home. When I told her I have the computer, and she said, okay. And then I went and then I opened the door and I pushed the computer inside her home and closed the door back. I didn't go inside her home or anything like that. But
we have custody that we're going back and forth. We've always had 50-50 custody since the kids are 15 and 13, and it's been going smoothly. So she wants to go back to court to try to get more custody with my daughter and son. So we'll just wait to go back to court for that. And that's basically all I have to say. I don't have a lot more to say because I've known her since she was 14, I was 16, and we've never had any physical or any kind of violence. We were together for 20 years. So I don't have anything against her. It's just I don't understand where this court case came from. But I'm just waiting to go to court in July.
Okay, so the incident where she was describing you trying to make entry into the home when nobody was there.
Never.
I'm sorry.
I never tried to make any entry to. I'm sorry. I never tried to make any entry to her home when no one was there. I never broke into her home ever. And I never tried to make entry to her home when no one was there. I never tried to make entry to her home when she was there. I've never gone to her house to try to intimidate her in any way. And I've never had any issues with her in terms of trying to get into her home or trying to mess with her home, whether she's there or not there. I haven't had any problems with her in terms of the kids. Trying to get into her home when she's there, when she's not there, anything like that. I haven't had any problems with her.
Okay, and so
I don't know what she came up with this stuff. What do you say?
Okay, so in regards to the incident where you were trying to bring the children to the house, she testified that she's told you not to come to the house. Is that right?
Well, when she called me and she said, "Hey, where are you going?" I said, "I'm taking the kids to your house." She said, "Well, no, take them back to your sister's house." And I said, "I will bring them to you. You want me to? I can bring them to you wherever you are. I can bring them to you." And she said, "No, just take them back to your sister's house." Right. And then I took them to her house to drop them off. But since the door was closed, then I turned around and I brought them back to my sister's house. And the reason I did that is because I keep asking her to stop picking the kids up from school when it's my turn to pick the kids up. And she'll pick the kids up, and then sometimes I can't even find where they are. You know what I'm saying? She'll pick the kids up early before school even ends. And I don't know where the kids are. And I've already gone up to school and things like that. So when I did that, just that week before, is when I told her, I'm in the line waiting to pick the kids up, and she's in front of me. And I said, "Don't pick Brian up. Don't pick Brian up. I'm in the line." And she's like, "No, I'm going to pick him up. I'm going to pick him up. I want to pick Brian and Lauren up together." And I said, "Don't pick him up." And then Lauren wasn't even there. So she just picked up Brian and took him home when I asked her not to. So I had to get out of the line and follow her to her house. So that's what happened with that.
Ms. French, do you have questions that you believe I need to ask this witness?
No, I don't have any questions.
No, I'm asking her. This is her chance for questions if she thinks there are questions.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Ms. French, on that day, on that Wednesday that he described, the day that I guess prompted all of these different arguments and him being upset, there was I did pick up my son from school. I was there to pick up my son and my daughter. I explained to Mr. French that there has been, the kids at school are making fun of my son on the line. And when you leave the two different children, it's awkward. Mr. French had to come to my home anyway to his time. It didn't change anything. So I said, "I'm here. I'm ahead of you. I'll just pick them both up. I'll meet you at the house." That's very normal. It's nothing different. Has some social issues at school, and I didn't want to make them worse. This is making it worse, the situation we currently have. So I picked them up. I proceeded to go home. And then I saw Mr. French still on the line, and he did not go back. He didn't turn around. He stayed in the line. And I didn't know he was going to do that. He was at the back of the line. He had plenty of opportunity to turn around. But I didn't know he was there, like right there. So I know he said he was there, but I just told him meet me at the house. So I I went to the home. I saw him in the line, and I met him at my home, and he was obviously upset. The idea that me picking the kids up when it's his time to pick up the kids is something that has not been in place the whole time that we've had the agreement. And him, his days, he's very adamant about his days all the time. I pick up I picked the kids up the next day, Thursday. It's his day. I picked up the kids from school. I picked up my son and drove him to his house. The next day, on his days is something that I've done. Last year, I did it almost exclusively, even though like 80% of the time I picked up the kids from school, even though it was his days. So me picking up the kids from school on his day is something that I did not think it would be something that would infuriate him the way it did. But I see that it made him mad that day, and we had the subsequent days, and then it all led up to what happened on Saturday. Is that it? Can they hear me?
Now I'm on mute. So here's the challenge as it relates to this case. Georgia law is very specific about what can serve as predicate offenses for cases of family violence, for protective orders like this. And I want to draw this distinction because I think it's important. In a family court setting, like your custody case that you have coming up very soon, the judge has very wide latitude because what the judge is tasked with doing in those hearings is to act in the best interest of the children. In a hearing like this, the crux of what a protective order asks the judge to do is to restrict the freedom of someone else, or restrict the actions or the movements of someone else. And in doing that, the standard that they are given, the standard we are given as judges, is that we have to find that the other person has committed acts of family violence as those acts are defined by Georgia law. And the behavior that you're describing for Mr. French is troubling because the patterns that he displays, I think you're right to identify with concern. It should absolutely be setting off, your alarm bell or raising a flag, whatever you want to call it, because it is the type of it's a type of boundary pushing. It's a type of almost determination of doing things a certain way. And even though I can look at his actions and believe that he is pushing those boundaries in a way that I think is very common in this court, in terms of the types of behavior we see from respondents, I also don't really know that I can take the testimony that I've heard today and say that he's committed acts of family violence sufficient to issue a protective order. And it's a tough spot, and I do sympathize with you because I can look at the subtext of what's going on and those elements of power and control. You can see those undercurrents in the decisions that are being made. Now, what I will say is,
but I forgot to mention that the part with the children, that was not something that I did not know that was part of what was going on. Judge Kemp actually was the one that brought that up. I actually was just filing because for me personally and my personal safety, the children, Judge Kemp was the one that suggested the custody. I did not even know that could be part of the process. And with that, I also asked him to kind of fiddle with the law a little bit, and he was kind of reluctant to do so, to make sure that Mr. French could still see his children. It wasn't a case of me just trying to get custody through this incident, because I didn't, and I'm sure it's probably
no, I get it. This is about you and your home, not about them. But where this is heading is this. Both of these things can be true at the same time, because that's how this goes sometimes. You have been very clear about your boundaries with him here today in open court, and we've all been here to witness it. So he knows that he should not be going to the property without your express permission, because he doesn't live there. It's not his. Now, and it's something that you should incorporate
Just
into
cannot
the
my door.
custody and visitation component. Like when those things go through the court system this summer and you're dealing with those issues, you need to make sure that those pick up and drop off things, that the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, so that that's configured in a way that is comfortable and safe for you. And I don't just mean physically safe, but I mean that feels okay is the best way I can describe it. And so while I don't believe I can extend the protective order for 12 months, based on the evidence I've heard today, those boundaries that you've set, I think are quite clear, such that, if he were to come around, you would be within your rights to call the police or to ask or to file a warrant application or to potentially refile this protective order. Well, I say refile, to file a new protective order alleging the issues you've talked about today and also adding to them any issues that have arisen since, because that's how this works. The reality of this courtroom is that we have never once said no to a person. What we say to them is not yet. And God forbid, but oftentimes there is more to add or more to say in the future. And if there is, then we want to hear that when it happens. And so, Ms. French, I thank you for your time today, and Mr. French as well. We're going to place the parties back in the waiting room.
Judge, sorry, I want to make sure this is part of the case and on the recording. I want to make sure that I state that I did not want Mr. French to not come to my property. Because we go back and forth with the children, and I don't want to make it inconvenient for our kids. I go to his property, he can come to my property. I just don't want him, I want him to stay a certain feet away from entering my home.
It's the literal physical home. The structure is your concern. Understood.
Yeah, I wanted to make that very, very clear, because everyone's, I guess it gets lost in the verbiage that I don't want him at my property. He can come to my property. He can come and see his children at my property. I just don't want him to walk up to my property and feel like he can just do that whenever he wants. That's what I don't want.
Physical structure, the building, the actual residence, not the land or the surrounding area if he's picking up or dropping off or visiting, but understood. And thank you for that clarification. So we're going to place both parties back in the waiting room. It will probably take 48 to 72 hours for the paperwork to be processed that closes out the order on the case and removes it from the registry.
I was not sure what was going to take 48 to 72 hours there for a second. But that is a wrap, folks. Just before we leave, let's take a little look at good old Larry Beeve, our main man, the one, the only, the beaver, the best. Larry Beaver. Ladies and gentlemen, please, as a reminder, if you want to send me a Larry Beaver, I want to see it. I want to see Larry, and I want to display him on the stage for all to see in his glory. Seriously, for anybody new here, Larry Beaver is a weird, deep inside joke that you will get used to and you will grow to love Larry Beaver. Anyways, I love you all very, very much. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We will be back tomorrow with some new court for you. I'm just not sure of which yet, but I want to remind you to go check out my friends who are in the chat always. We've got That Is the Way I See It. We have People in Court. We have Looking at Legal Stuff. We have Time Served. We have Credence and Mikey. Please go check them out. That is where I hang out during the day in all those lovely YouTube channels, watching court, surfing our day away, finding the best stuff for us to watch at night. So I love you all very much. Please remember to be kind to yourselves. And I'm proud of you. Okay? I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.